Giờ cái này xong giờ chiếu video rác được không? Chiếu luôn nữa không? Lấy một cái like thành đưa qua đây. In 5 more minutes. Okay, you don't need to give an introduction. I will go on stage with the introduction, and then you play the video. Tìm được cái video. Video này 9 cái đúng không?
People get from that restaurant there. Or lost people at the restaurant.
Yeah.
I know a bit.
Those girls in blue dress, right?
Yep.
Get everybody inside now.
Okay.
Hello. We should get started soon, so if you can please take your seats. Can we request the people outside in the lobby to make their way in? Thank you.
Vâng. Lại cái video đầu tiên.
Sao? Này không phải là cái là bên đồ không?
Ủa, anh biết là cái này đó. That's some kind of technical problem with our laptop. They have to change to a new one, and then they have to move all of the old files to the new laptop. But they can start having. We can keep doing it. We can start the video. Yeah, that's what they are trying to do right now. They're trying to arrange on-type video and also dimension.
Okay. Welcome back, everybody. We'll get started now. Thank you. I hope you all enjoyed your lunch. We have few people who are still having lunch, but I think in the interest of time, we'll get started. This next presentation is actually an MMA presentation. It's a video which we are talking about the state of CDO. So this is another task force and a research methodology that MMA has adopted of on data, chief digital organization, consumer digital organization, how it is to be structured, what needs to be done. So we have Vasilis and Greg who are online from, it's a virtual session from US, talking about what the organization and capabilities, etc., for data should be as we move forward. So I hope you enjoy this session. Thank you. Can we have the video, please?
Hello, MMA Vietnam.
Audio,
Good to see
please.
you. I am Greg Stewart, CEO of MMA Globally. Joining me today is Vasilis Pakopoulos, Senior Vice President of Research and Global Insights for MMA. And we're here to share with you what we've done around Chief Digital Officer. Now, interesting enough, on Chief Digital Officer, this is not a role that typically MMA has been focused on. As you know, we are here for marketers. We work predominantly for marketers, and most of my board is our CMOs. But again, this is research we did to try to understand the full digital transformation of companies and what they're undergoing and how we could really help support. And what we found too is that CDOs, as you're going to hear from Vasilis today, they play a real role in also customer support, especially when it comes to items like MarTechs and the office. More complex than that, but we'll get into it. So let's show you a pre-release. This is actually the first time we presented this publicly anywhere. So Jessica and Rohit, I appreciate you letting us come do this here in Vietnam. So we're going to talk to you a little bit about, what did we do? How does the role matter? And a little short review about the quant data. And then we'll give you an information here. You can go find out more about this. Okay. In fact, just to sort of tell you what I'll tell you at the end, we're actually kicking off a series on November 10th of CDOs talking about their role, how it plays. You can see all the topics here across the top that we're doing all the way up to February 15th. And the many participants, including search firms and consultancies, will sort of join with us in trying to help explain, again, the role of CDO. Okay. So what was interesting about this work is that we actually did this work, most of it with Oxford University. So we thank Andrew, Philippe, and Gillian from King's College, formerly of Oxford, who did most of the interviewing around this, and our own Vasilis Pakopoulos, who filled in a lot of quant data and helped guide the whole project. And I also want to give a special shout out and thanks to the Chief Digital Officers of the MMA CDO board. These are CDOs who report to generally CEOs, and I think in every case report to the CEO of the company. They don't report in the CMO. So whereas a lot of CDOs have what feel like marketing capabilities under their domain, they are in fact actual part of the sort of main C-suite that a CMO would be. There are three outputs today. We're really going to talk mostly about the one in the center. Oxford University put together the evolving role of the CDO, and they have conclusions around that. I'll give you a bit on that. There's also another CDO report that we did ourselves put together, and I'll give a little bit more information on that later. There's a big methodology going through. The crux of this, though, are really two elements, just so you know. One is that we actually conducted 4 to 6 one-hour interviews with CDOs from around the world in a variety of different sectors. We also did, Vasilis here did, and that's what we're going to share with you mostly today, is a quant research survey, a process that we went through to really dimensionalize some of the findings we found from the qualitative work. So hopefully you find both of these very interesting. And again, just to sort of articulate, Oxford had actually done this role of CDO back in 2018. So this was really comparing in a similar fashion to what they found then to now. And that really defines some real changing roles that in many regards, the role of the CDO, what their report will say when you actually read the whole thing or hear it from Philippe Thomas, who presented on November 10th, is that you'll really hear that the CDO has moved to the center. They used to be kind of sideshow helping. Now they're in the center, often running P&Ls and made them much more important. And as the conclusion of the report, I'll jump ahead here just to give you the answer. They actually think that the CDO is most likely to be CEO someday. So with that, no, that's fine, guys. Here we go on to you. You're all good. And so I'm going to turn it over to Vasilis now to walk you through some of the benchmarking research that we really found in his work to try to discover what is this role? How does it fit in the organization? What you do? Vasilis, all yours.
Thank you, Greg. Thank you I think that was great setup and context. The only other thing that I would like to add from a research perspective is that the MMA runs a number of benchmarking studies. We feel that it's important to actually do that because it provides perspective about a certain topic. So the state of CDO is one of these studies. We're going to be repeating it next year. We also have benchmarking studies about the state of data maturity, the state of AI, actually, we're just filming right now, and a number of other studies. So let me kind of jump into this specific study and try to give you a little bit of a flavor in terms of some of the key insights that are coming out of this. And what you're going to see is based on over 100 surveys with CDOs. They kind of cover a nice range of different types of companies, from CPG, durable, technology. I mean, you can see all the representation of companies there. And at least almost half of them are very large companies, over $1 billion and above, right? So that hopefully gives you some perspective in terms of where the insights are coming from. Now, there's three main themes that emerged from this study, and I'm going to try to kind of now give you the headlines a little bit so that you know what's coming. And then I'm going to come back and unpack each one of them, right? The first one is that the role of CDO is closely tied to business performance. I think, Greg, you alluded to that a little bit before, but we're going to talk about that and show some evidence of that. The second one is that CDOs have a clear mandate from the CEO, right? And they own a number of very important capabilities, specifically when it comes to customer experience and everything that has to do with that. But there is evidence that there might be some overlap with other C-level roles. And the third thing is that as we're looking at the future, there are two schools of thought in terms of the future of the CDO, right? And how they, CDOs themselves, see their role and how it will evolve in the future, right? So these are the three kind of important themes that emerge from the study. Let me kind of jump into the first one. Again, the role of the CDO closely tied to business performance. Now, what do we mean by that? Now, Greg alluded to that before we did the quantitative study. We did a number of in-depth interviews with CDOs, and we asked them a question of like, how do you see your vision about your role, right? And some themes emerged and we tried then to quantify those themes. And you see the three main themes that had emerged from the qualitative study. Now, it's very, very clear which one ranks to the top. 68%, 7 out of 10 CDOs tend to believe that their goal, their vision is to improve the business performance of their company. And the way to do that is by leveraging the power of digital and data. Now, there's a smaller group of people, CDOs, who think that the goal here is disruption and innovation. But again, the majority tends to kind of link that disruption and innovation back to specific business performance and meaningful, tangible results. Now, it's interesting. We asked another couple of questions on this topic, and I think this further validates the point. What you see here is a list of measurable goals, and they kind of they range all the way from driving top line business growth and improving operational efficiency and business margins. So clearly the very, very, the biggest priorities for the CDO, right? And then you have a set of ways to do that, by improving data access, by investing in the right talent, by increasing agility, by improving collaboration. All those other things kind of come as supporting kind of strategies to drive top-line business growth and to improve operational efficiency. And I think just to drive the point home, we also kind of ask them how they go about it, right? And we asked them a number of questions, and this is one of them in terms of how much effort do they kind of put in each one of these areas in terms of people and data and systems and processes and culture. And it's tempting to think that disruption has to do only with data and systems and maybe with processes, but you see that the thing that runs to the top here is people, and culture also is not far behind. So CDOs tend to see change and disruption as all encompassing, right? Involving all of those different kind of areas and parts of the organization. Okay, so CDOs tied to business performance, that's how they see their role. Now, this is further kind of validated by the second finding, the second kind of theme that we have here. And it has to do with reporting structures, and it has to do with capabilities that they own. And the theme here is that CDOs have a very clear mandate from CEOs. And yet, if you look closer, there are elements that there are still some overlaps with other C roles that we may have to kind of figure out and kind of sort out. Now, what do we mean by that? Now, first and foremost, we see that reporting structure-wise, 6 out of 10 CDOs report to the CEO. I think Greg alluded to that before, and based on a lot of like qualitative evidence, but this is also like fairly quantified based on our quantitative sample. So that's evidence number one about the fact that CEOs lean in and identify also CDOs as important kind of people in to drive the digital transformation. They also kind of give them a lot of, that mandate translates in a number of owning a number of capabilities. And with the dark blue, you see the percentage of CDOs who say that they own the specific capability. And with light blue, you see the percentage of CDOs that say that they influence the specific capabilities. And it's very, very clear that, in most of the cases, CDOs either own or influence, most of these capabilities, or at least 7 out of 10 CDOs do, right? And it's interesting also to see that when it comes to experience design, data governance, CRM, all these are important capabilities to drive a customer focus for the organization. CDOs tend to own those things disproportionately, right? So it's interesting though when you take a step back and you think in terms of customer centricity as a vision, as a goal of the organization. This is one of these areas that I highlighted before as like, who owns that, right? Maybe there is a number of different C-level roles that feel that they have they need to own that specific kind of goal. And CDOs specifically in this case, you see that they don't put customer centricity all the way up to the top, right? And as we think about it and we take a step back, you see that there is a number of other C-level roles in the company, as we all know, and they still exist and they still kind of are there, a big part of the organization, COOs, CIOs, CTOs, and so on and so forth. So the question is how possible overlaps may exist with other C roles in the organization. Now, I want to wrap up with the third finding, which is all about the future and where the CDO see themselves kind of evolving and how much of a runway they think that they have. Are they here to stay, or do they think that they're building towards a day that they will not be needed anymore? And we asked that question in that exact way. And on the one side, on the left, you see that there's about 1/3, the 19 plus 14% of CDOs who tend to see that themselves as more short-term, like I'm here to fix things. I'm here to kind of build towards a day that I'm not going to be needed anymore. And these CDOs tend to work for companies that actually need that short-term focus. They are companies that, in most of the cases, they haven't been growing year on year, as we can see from their typology data and classification data. And on the other side, you see probably 60% of CDOs who feel that disruption is ongoing. I'm here to stay, and I'm here. Today is maybe AI. Tomorrow is going to be something else, or AI. The next iteration of AI, for that matter. So with that in mind, I want to kind of summarize the key takeaways. We talked about 3 main themes that come from the quantitative study. The first one is the fact that the role of the CDO is closely tied to business performance. The second one is that there is a strong mandate from the CEO. CDOs tend to report to the CEOs. They own a number of important capabilities, but there is evidence that there might be overlaps with other C roles. And the third thing is that when it comes to the future, there's two schools of thought in terms of how CDOs tend to see themselves and tend to see their role. Some of them short-term and most of them more long-term. So I hope this was kind of interesting and gave you kind of a little bit of a taste. There's more insight in the report. I would just invite all of you to kind of go and check the report in our website. And with that, Greg, back to you.
Great, thank you, Ves. Just I could listen to you do data and its insights all day long. So thank you for that. Listen, as mentioned, there is a third report here, CDO Perspectives, just CDOs in their own words tied to some of the quantum data that Vasilis just showed. But I think this quote actually captured the best of the insight we got from all the research we did. I actually had asked a question here. I'd asked a CDO at one point when I realized the domain of expertise and functions that he ran within the company. And I said to him at one point, I says, really, boy, does this mean that you might be CEO of your company someday? Which I thought was kind of a funny thing for me to even ask him. And I'll never forget his answer. He goes, well, if the board wants an executive that can see around corners, create positive transformation in the business, and effectively navigate a constantly changing environment, then maybe. I mean, that's just it, everybody, right? CDO's not going away. Consumers changing tastes will happen, not just from in your sector, but from companies well without your sector are setting new standards for how your customers expect. Technology is not going to change, and business needs to transform no matter what anyway. This is just a great way to do that. And so, again, I remind you about our great CDO debate coming up here, starting again November 10th. So please sign up. We'll keep you registered in that, even if you can't. I think it's kind of late at night there for Vietnam. So sorry about that, the Vietnam team and MMA members. And then finally, you can register here for that actually at MMAglobal.com, the Great Debates, so / the Great Debates. And I really encourage you to join us. And so with that, thank you again, Rohit. Thank you, Jessica, for the opportunity to share this really for the first time anywhere in the world. This is the hope Vasilis and I did a good enough job. It's the first time we've shown this. So with that, if you have questions or emails on here, feel free to follow up. Thank you, everyone. Have a good day today.
Thank you, everyone.
There was a lot of content on that site. This report, this presentation is available on MMA Global. You can sign up as Greg summarized at the end. We have a couple of sessions coming up, some webinars that are coming up. You can sign up. This is the first time this report has actually been publicly announced. It's done here. We are going to roll it out in a couple of other markets after this. But you are happy to engage with us, happy to have you participate on those great debates, engage with us. And if you have any suggestions to participate in these task forces, etc., as I said before the break, we are looking at focusing on data next year in Vietnam with the partnership probably with CDP, etc. We do believe it is important to do that along with creativity. So with that, from a very data-centric slide and speakers to somebody who can tell us about storytelling, somebody who can tell us how to actually build a culture for success. So let me ask you a question. How many of you in this room have had organizations which have allowed you to fail in what you do? Raise hands. Few. Not many people do that. Not many organizations do that. And I think that is something that we all need to understand. If you want to innovate, you need to change culture. If you want to be ahead, if you want to be path-breaking, you need to change that culture of trying to prove yourself every time. If you give the team organization structure to even fail, they are bound to do more. Our next speaker, Anna Bezon, who's the marketing director of Heineken, is actually going to share with us the importance of culture and helping organizations understand and build that culture. So Anna, if I can have you on stage, welcome. Thank you. So Anna shared with me her favorite book is Happiness Hypothesis. So What is the true meaning of happiness hypothesis?
Simple meaning is that happiness makes you much stronger leader and helps you to drive the value of the company. It's such a simple truth, yes? And this simplicity is what I really love in life and in business. So the happiness hypothesis is...
Simplicity in silver coin is an
Ah,
example of that.
That one is quite complex, let's be honest.
I don't know if any of you know, Anna is a professional competitive horse dressage rider. She's
True.
participated in many competitions around the world, if that's
True.
right. Horse dressage is really making the horse dance to your tunes. I hope you make the audience dance to your tunes now. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Rahid, for having me here. Okay, welcome, guys. It's my third time I'm with MMA Impact. And I think it's good to meet once a year to really inspire each other, because this is how I see it, yes? That we can learn from each other. We all have exactly the same job to be done to create the long-term value for our businesses. And when I look at the, let's say, theme of this year, which is about shaping the future of the modern marketing, I went through the agenda and I see we talk a lot about Web 3.0, we talk about data, we talk about sustainable marketing, but in the end, I strongly believe it all starts with people and the culture which you create. Otherwise, it's impossible to shape the future. You really need to create the environment which allows you for it. And I'm with Heineken 3 years, many different countries. And I need to say that Heineken Vietnam is the place which really allowed me to unleash my creativity, because the culture which we created here is super unique. So let me talk a bit about this culture. So first of all, we believe in Heineken that culture is a competitive advantage. And we strongly believe it from global to the local. Our culture, I think culture is something unique for organizations. You cannot repeat the culture of the other organization. You can borrow some elements, but you cannot repeat. What is unique about our culture, we call it the culture of pioneering. And I think it's important to understand we are a Dutch company, yes? Dutch is about entrepreneurship, about trying new things, about not being afraid to fail. And this is the part of the company culture. So then when I look at the pioneering culture, what are the key elements are important to create this culture, or what are the key elements in our culture in Heineken Vietnam? I would say these are the 4 elements, which I'm trying to change the slide. So if you can help me, guys, I'm trying towards you. Yes, finally. So of course, people are in the heart, yes? But I would say there are 4 elements which create our culture of pioneering. And I would like to quickly go through all these 4 elements, but very much based on examples, real life examples, not theory. So I think to pioneer, you need to put creativity at the core of everything you do in your organization. Because if there is no creativity, how can you try to do things differently and pioneer and be the first one who really use some tools or create some products? The second element, starting to be more and more boring, let's call it this way, less sexy, but you need some processes which will unlock the culture of pioneering. You need also to create the environment, the climate, and you need some policies which are do's and don'ts in the organization. So let's try one by one. So when we look at the creativity, we in Heineken believe that creativity drives growth. If you don't believe it, and I know there are different discussions in the organizations, I think it doesn't matter to have creativity. So creativity only matters if you believe it will deliver growth to your organization, long-term growth to your organization. And we have 150 years history in Heineken, so we have a lot of campaigns across the world. So what we can do, we can measure the campaigns which were rewarded versus those not rewarded. And we can easily see, based on our own data, that the campaigns which were more creative and more rewarded help us to drive the shares, and especially made our brands less sensitive to the pricing ups and downs. On purpose, I use here external data that you don't say it's a bias because we use the Heineken data, but I think there is a lot of scientists measuring exactly the same, yes? So how the creative rewarded work impacts the business. So it's one, but if you believe creativity matters, it's not just the notion. Then what you need to do, you really need to walk the talk. And being CMO or being the marketing director, it makes you feel very often uncomfortable, very uncomfortable. You are totally out of your comfort zone with a lot of things which your teams are bringing to you. But if you really want to pioneer, you need to try. So let me give a few examples how we walk the talk. So there is one of our brands which today is not in Vietnam, but it's a very successful brand in Europe. It's called Desperados. It's a beer with tequila inside. So the essence of this brand is we are the party, and it proves that it can add unexpected elements, same way as we added unexpected element of tequila to beer, unexpected element to every party. So what the brand is doing, for example, first ever zero gravity festivals in the planes above Las Vegas, where you have DJs in the different planes and the plane gets to the zero gravity, so you start to fly. Or they organize Skyfest, which are the first festivals with DJs playing in the hot air balloons, yes? So you see how many risks you see being the marketing director when your team comes with such idea, yes? You see all safety issues, you see so many weather issues which can impact it, but I think you need to try. So you need to walk the talk because otherwise your teams will stop coming with more creative ideas to you. The last two I had this year, I think interesting one, when my team came to me for Tiger Crystal and said, Anna, Crystal is about igniting fire and turning all refreshment. So we want to make the EDM party, nothing special, EDM party, a lot of brands does it. But in the moment when the vibe is very high, we want to splash hectoliters of water on the crowd because this is refreshment. And then again, we all dance, jump, jump, jump. The vibe is high, you splash hectoliters of water. So my first reaction was like, oh my gosh. In the end, we did it. I think it was the #1 party of this year in Vietnam. We did it 3 times, and it is now becoming the long-term platform for Tiger across the Asia. Another example, we are alcohol brands, and we really don't want anyone to drive after any drop of alcohol. And we try to convey this message from years. It's not easy. So what we decided to do a couple of years, we decided we will sponsor Formula One. Formula One is all about driving, yes? But because of the scale of Formula One, we will be able to use the message when you drive, never drink, across the race, and use all the current and old drivers to help us to convey this message. I think it's very bold, yes? It's very creative because you say to people, don't drink it. This is how our billboards look like. We showed our packaging and we say, don't drink it if you drive. But I think this way, very creative, different perspective, help us to really drive the awareness of the alcohol consumption negative aspects. And the last I wanted to share with you from the examples how we walk the talk, I think very controversial last year. We all remember COVID times. In Europe, a lot of people didn't want to be vaccinated. From the right reasons, it's your freedom to choose if you want or not. And we decided to take a point of view on it to support our on-trade owners, because of course, if people are not vaccinated, our customers have no revenue. So we made this commercial. Let me show it to you, and then I will talk about consequences. Can I ask for video? So you can see courageous, yes? First of all, we used as a cast 60, 70 years old. That's not what you do normally for beer. But they were the one who were at the highest risk group during the COVID times, yes? We wanted through them to convey the message, guys, we can live in a more safe way, more safe words if you really vaccinate. We were highly criticized that as a beer brand, we took the voice. I need to say it was a kind of crisis management, but we didn't took it off. We decided we continue because we really believe this is our role also to make sure that our customers can have the crowd back in the outlets and regain their revenue. So when it comes to creativity, what is also important is that we don't think it's only the comms job, the creativity, yes? So creativity goes much beyond it. And I think it starts from the product innovation. We added tequila to Desperados lager beer 20 years ago when nobody was even thinking about going beyond lager. This machine, which we call soup, it's the way how you can serve beer yourself. So this is very different experience. We make each of you bartenders in your homes, yes? So it all goes with the creativity in every aspect. I think today my team was presenting super nice one where you can also bring creativity to your gadgets, yes? These are the sneakers with the silver beer in the sole. And last two examples, exactly from this year, it's clearly Vietnam, how we bring the sampling. We started during COVID time when the touching each other was not probably the best way to do. So this is how we sample through the robotics, yes? We use these robots which are going somewhere here in our modern off-trade, in hypermarkets, to offer our promotions. You see, these are not scalable things, but we try, we learn, and we push on. So it's very important also that if you say, okay, creativity is at the core, we walk the talk, but also you need to recognize and promote creativity. So we have quite a lot of different rewards internally. What I think is important for me is that we not only recognize the creativity, but also the courage champions and the champions of persistence, that you really don't give up. You go, whatever is happening around, you go. And that's why also we are here, because we think that also the external recognition, we are also in Cannes, we are with Spikies, we think it's the way for our people to be rewarded with their creativity. So the first aspect is creativity at the center, then processes. So we are definitely the organization which is all about experimenting. Rather than 2 years of researches, we will make maybe one, and then we go, and we learn as it goes. And we tweak, we change, we adjust. I think cider, Strongbow brand, probably all of you know, when we were bringing it to Vietnam, everyone was saying, but in Vietnam there are no apples. Why apples? Why fermented apple juice? We tried, it's super successful. It's 5th biggest market of Strongbow in the world, here in Vietnam. Today, team was presenting eCoin. We also didn't have answer to so many questions, but we decided we go and we experiment. But because of this approach that we experiment with many things, and we are a huge organization, you need to have some processes. Otherwise, it's one big chaos. So we do have the process, which my teams don't laugh, I need to tell you, because you need to align different aspects of every project across the organization. It's a 6 gates funnel, which you need to go. And you make sure through this process that everyone in organization knows what is happening. So when you have the process, then you also need to be able to measure your creativity. How do we do that? We have something what we call creative ladder. It has 10 levels. Each of them is well explained. And for example, yesterday I was sitting with my team. We look at many external cases from different advertising festival, different categories, and we look at beer cases across the globe. And together we judge, based on this ladder, where do we think this communication, this creative piece, this innovation is landing? What we find out is that in Vietnam, with many of Also our own work, we are at cliché level. So we are repeating the same of what the others are doing, but just rebranding it. Getting to the level of ownable or fresh is already amazing achievement. So this ladder is used for us to motivate ourselves and challenge ourselves. My teams are having it in the STIs, that the communication they are developing, the innovation they are bringing, it needs to reach certain level of the creativity. So then we can measure with the same language. And then when it comes to, I think, more soft elements, first, climate. So I said creativity is not only communication, yes? But I think the culture of pioneering needs to be across the organization. Otherwise, if marketing will come with some creative idea, supply chain will kill them. It's as simple as this, yes? So these are the 4 behaviors which every employee of Heineken is evaluated against. And I wanted to just take your attention to one, which is in shape, which is make courageous moves. What it means we say to people, we act like entrepreneur, we pioneer, we try, we take the risks. So we reward people for these behaviors. We don't penalize for these behaviors. We really promote those behaviors. So when you have then the behaviors, what is also important is inspiration and training. This is just, I think, the map of this year for my team. So the teams are going through a lot of trainings. We learn from the other opcos, we learn from the external world, we inspire each other. And I think the last element, which is very important in the climate, is also the vibe in your office. Yes, Heineken office is a cool place to be, but I think what is even more important is we work in the hybrid model, like I think a lot of you, where only 2 days a week you need to be in the office. Only 2 days are obligatory. Because we believe that by observing, by working from the coffee places, you absorb and learn and unlock your creativity rather than sitting at the desk in your office. What is the result? On average, people come to the office 4 times, even if they have to do that 2 times, because they have a choice. So if you give people the choice and you have the right environment, the office which is really encouraging creativity, people will come. This is at least for Vietnam. I know from my Singaporean colleagues that for them it's very difficult to get people back to the office after COVID. And last but not least from my side, when it comes to the policies, I think there are 2 important elements to really make culture of pioneering. The first one, how do you support creativity? I have something what I call Courage Fund, which is 1% of my ABTL budget. For Heineken, it's a lot of money in the end. And all the most crazy ideas where people really, teams feel very uncomfortable with them. They say, okay, I really don't know if it will work or not work, but I want to try. I will finance them from the separate pocket. So they need to pitch to me, and I'm dedicating the budget for it. It's like a courage learning budget. And last but not least, I think our partners are here, but we are not perfect yet with it. How we train our teams to not kill creativity. I think we are masters of killing creativity as a client. A lot of us are micromanagers, yes? So there's big idea and we talk about the font or we talk about the color. We are the blenders, which means we say, okay, use this idea and add something from this one and add something from this one. When you mingle it all together, the initial idea is not there. So I think it's really very important, the feedback we give to the agencies, and from the youngest people in the team to really train them, that to pioneer, to make the big things, not everything will be perfect from the beginning. And you need to accept it as a client and you need to try. So that would be what I wanted to share with you from the practical point of view. I wish you all a very courageous, creative future. Thank you.
Thank you, Anna. Thank you. If you can just stay on for a couple of minutes, we would like to open it up for questions. If anybody has questions on organization structure, setting ups for failure, and the secret fund that Anna has, or how to use that fund. Any questions? Any one question? You seem to be very shy. Either the food was very good or you guys are just sleepy right now. Okay, none. Okay, so I have a question for you.
Okay, let's go.
The question is, when you talk about culture, when you talk about agility and making these choices available for the team and to your
Yeah.
partners, what is the connecting
Connecting.
tissue between all of them? Because everybody has their own business priorities. They have
Mhm.
data versus creativity, brand versus performance. All, what is that connecting tissue that will help drive this agility? Is there a connecting tissue?
I'm a very critical person, yes. So I think still today there is not connecting. There is no threat. I still think we don't work integrated enough. We still, a lot of partners treat each other like a competitive set. So I don't think we are there. But what I'm sure is helping us a lot is people really want to work for the Heineken brands. And I think that is the element, the passion which comes with it. And believe me, it's not every country. I work many European countries, and it was not like this. But here in Vietnam, I think through the years, people built this thinking of Tiger, of Heineken, of our brands, which really help you as a partners to go to the next level. So you have this, we have the freedom to fail as the organization. I'm the only person deciding about our communication, about our innovations. I don't need to align it with region, with my CEO, with global, nothing. Yes, that gives us a lot of freedom to really try and learn.
Thank you so much, Anna. Really appreciate.
you.
Thank you. Anna from Heineken. So we're going to move on to the next session. I know we need a couple of minutes while they set the stage. The next session is going to be run by Meta, our partners. The session's all about connecting the culture, the whole culture that Anna spoke about, the consumer experience, and how you make it effective for the organization. So we have a panel discussion. We have a case study that is going to be presented, talking about the connecting tissue, and that's why I actually asked Anna that question. How do you build the bridge between all of them? Our speakers are going to take stage. It'll be a presentation to begin with, followed by a presentation. So let me first invite Ms. Swan to the stage from Meta. She heads the agency business for Meta, based out of Singapore, and has graciously offered to participate here with us. Couple of quick questions. So one more thing in common, and this is really funny. Anna is a horse rider, and so is Swan. I didn't expect two speakers back to back to be a horse rider. But another thing that I learned very interestingly, you've climbed some mountains in Tibet, Bhutan, and Swiss Alps. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, I was born in Central Highland in the life, so I love moderate weather, and I love elevation. So that's why I explore lands and mountain around the world. It's like part of my instinct.
And Suan is also a Latin American dance format called Bacha. She's a very avid dancer. Maybe she'll show us some moves later on. But I will leave the stage to you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Rohit. Good afternoon, everyone. For those who haven't known me, my name is Xuan. I'm leading the agency relationship for Meta in Vietnam. And before I joined Meta, I'm being doing role in both local and regional, mostly around Southeast Asia market, as a brand builder from agency side and also from client side. What I really think relating to the team today is, and I just share with you, right? It's all about the culture of pioneering. It's all about creativity. And today we are here. I'm really thrilled. I'm very to share a very exciting topic. It's all about the art of storytelling. But the art of storytelling in the 21st century is very different from the way we are telling story years ago. And joining me today, I have my co-presenter who joined the stage later. His name is Nam from Media Partnership Team, together with Trami from OGV and Chido from Next Media. So why Meta? And why are we talking those things? So this is not me talking, right? This is a study that we did with Ipsos. And as you can see, around the world, people connecting and they're saying they can build a relationship with brand and people. And the top platform they are doing so is to Instagram and Facebook. And of course, followed by other like very famous like name also Twitter, YouTube, or TikTok in this market. But why people coming into like platform like us to connect, right? There always a reason for that. So the context of the world has been changing a lot. So for example, right, I actually connect with like people that matter to me and things that matter to me. So I follow Trevor Noah, the African American like comedian on Instagram, and I feel so much inspired by his story. Like vice versa, like I also like follow a lot of people here who are very famous in a certain areas. It may be art, it may be a book writer, or it may be also a young entrepreneur who create their own brand. So those are the things that people care about and connecting with, and that's why people come to Facebook and Instagram for the same reason. And what we see nowadays is a lot of brands and business. In Vietnam, we see a lot of young entrepreneurs is setting up their business. They're starting with nothing except for the social platform. They have been doing a great job. And we love to see more of that like coming up with the power of technology, with the very wide penetration of social platform and internet nowadays. Can we turn on sound?
Both of the old-fashioned shows.
We are at the bus.
Seatbelt, please. Baseball, maybe I'll get another place baseball, you know?
This is how we do it. This is how we do it. This is how we do.
So we see like brands across the world actually also changing the way they're talking to consumer. This is a collaboration between Boss and another brand called American Athlete. And what they did is they create a set of like real story with creator. And as you can see, right, it's feature the story like from backstage, also to runway, and then to certain extent, going to the store also. And the result actually amazing. So if you can see, this is like happening last year at the Fashion Week in Milan. And there is 14 creators actually involved in the whole campaign. And the whole Fashion Week actually live, but they're also live on Instagram. So the impact is immediate, and people like integrate and interact with the whole Milan Week like in a very real sense. They experiment it. And as you can see, the impact of the interactivity is amazing. In terms of social engagement over the 4 days in the Milan week, it's actually 1,600 like times higher than the normal one. So this is one true example of how people that embrace creativities, leverage like the voice of creator and like different like creativity in their brand building. What about Vietnam? I think Vietnam is a very fortunate market. That such a young and passionate and pioneer culture happening here. So we are seeing a lot of people, young people here exploring things on social media. So this is coming from a very recent study that we did this year with Bain. And we know that like almost like 50% of the discovery happening now in social media. What else? It's not only about social media, it's not about video, but we also see that the growth of what we call is creator economy is significant. So before and after we did the study, the average number of purchase for creator-led content grow by 12%. So in such a short time, we are seeing a significant jump in the way people adopting and following content, in particular that using the voice of creator. Beyond experience, what we believe is brand can also engage people and then can involve them and entertain them and educate them. So I would love to share another story that you really build a meaningful connection with consumer for a museum.
Reality, it's like you're living inside of the painting and you can see every detail. It's not only just looking at the painting, it's a whole experience at one. I think VR experiences are very important for art education. Students can really dive into the subject of the paintings. I think Johan would be honored to have his painting experience like this.
The experience in both, the painting and then in VR, it's quite different from what you see in the painting, because all you see in the painting is mostly like the front view. Like in VR, you're able to see like the back perspective of the painting. You also are able to see some parts of the costumes that you didn't see. You're able to see some more emotions. All of a sudden, when you're in the VR, you feel like you are in a story. You feel like you're part of the painting. You see how much detail this work is.
What I really love about this initiative is like it's not only about like just like using like technology, right? It's all about reimagining the experience that you can have at a museum. You can imagine you have a painting, right? So in the old day, even if I admire that like author too much or that artist a lot, right? What I can see is only the fun face of that, and maybe a certain layer of that artwork. But with like virtual reality, you can dig even deeper. You can educate the audience about the history behind that painting, the century when that painting happening, what will be the background of the artist. So that's the multiple way that we can take and elevate that experience to make a much deeper and stronger like connection with your audience. And that is the theme of today also. What we believe is consumer are asking for a seamless experience. They asking for connection. And it's moving from connected discovery, moving to the depth of your experience with the brand, and also like to the people and the voices that you care about or you identify with. Is we always working with like hundreds of thousands like campaign and brand across the world. So we try to do also large scale analysis to understand. So what would be the impact? You are saying those things. Is there any evidence how we can prove the effectiveness of it? So this one we actually look at almost like 3,000 assets across the world just to understand the incremental effectiveness when you are like using more connected experience and you are like leverage the creator voice. And as you can see, the incremental effectiveness is there. And this is what we encourage people now looking for more, the multiplier of a brand, of a business. So what is multiplier? We're talking a lot about the foundational, right? Meta is very famous about scale, about reach, but sometimes we also almost, they sometimes forget that everything happening on Facebook and Instagram is very personalized. And that's where we believe that we can go and build deeper connection with consumer. That's where we can driving the lower metric with building association, building connection, and of course, at the end of the day, building loyalty and conversion. And that's also where we believe the power of the creator coming in, the power of the experience coming in. And with that, I would like to invite my friend Nam on the stage to share with you a few bit by cultural shift and how it has been changed the way of like brand builder across the world looking to build their story and connect with their consumer.
Thanks Sun for sharing. So as a marketer, I'm sorry, but I think Sun introduced me already. My name is Nam. I'm leading the media partnership for Meta for the last 5 years. So as a marketer, are you guys hungry for the big idea and insightful idea for your brands? Who are hungry for that? Please raise your hands. Of course, we all are, right? So how to do that? So as you see over here, in this culture shift, we see 4 behavior creative should adapt for the culture. As you see over here, I will walk you through every example of this one. This creative idea based on the data analysis from more than 100 send-out campaign around the world. So the first one is empower the crowd. The story of the SEA Games 2020 in May 2022, we will show the great example. This one, a SEA Games, as you know, is a really big deal in Vietnam and in Southeast Asia. The story is start from the reels. I think everybody over here know how to use reels on Meta platform and Instagram, right? Facebook. So our creator, local creator from Vietnam, create a reel. All the international creator pick it up from Indonesia, Thailand, Philippines, and the results are amazing. And you see the creator create 45 million real play at SEA Games in 2022. So how many brands over here want to keep the moment? That you don't want to keep the moment, right? People following the trend. Of course, as a brand, we follow the trend as well. Another example over here is, sorry, can we do the slide? Another example of the creative behavior is elevate unheard story. So what is unheard story that we mentioned over here? Taylor is a one creator based in Hong Kong, and she's create a lifetime of by using reel and video, and she create like have a 160 million plays, just telling the story about her parenthood and pregnancy. It's really some story that we never thought that will be shared very friendly on the social media. And the hook of the engaging is using the trending audio to engage her audience.
People have told me to pack my hospital bag this morning.
Right? We think it's the audio from the phone, but actually with Taylor, it's all that she care about. She follow the trend.
Some non-slip fuzzy socks. So I got some adult underwear. A lot of you guys recommended me them. This inflates and it's like a ring pillow.
It's the way she showed how she packing every stop to go to the hospital. But it's you know, like crazy. All the mom community followed her. And here's one of my favorite parts. Shop the moment. What is shop the moment? Who's the Tiki brand over here? Okay, you there. Thanks Sun for that. So Tiki's, don't miss the mega sale because the Tiki did a great collaboration with the Netface, one of the model show in Vietnam, and they created 7 episodes on online during the COVID time, and they create a massive sale for this one. We like Tiki using all the business messenger board on the Meta platform to create the really all the sale during the COVID time. And the last one, what is the unlock the universe? I think people know about the term metaverse a lot, right? So what is the unlock the universe? Normally, K-pop is one of the dominant music streaming in Taiwan. And they have a host one of the biggest award night for the music who win the award. But they don't do the normal way. They do it on metaverse. Here, just take a look.
Hello， 大家好，我是 Lucy，
是雷奇，这是我的 Crane。
嗨，大家好，我是阿爸佳佳。大家好，我是郑怡农。
So as you see, they invite the creator, the host, come into the metaverse using the Oculus and the Quest and using their avatar. They have even bobcats on the metaverse. So do something that's differently. So for today, like as you see over here, for the work ahead, and we see that 4 elements that we want to send out a message to you for creative work ahead for all the brand that you should keep in mind how we empower the crowd, how we can shape the culture trend, the culture relevant into your work, the how to you empower the community via the elevate the unheard story, how you utilize the moment via the collaboration with the other brand to create the captive the moment that you think that your brand will be interested into. And the last one, unlock the universe. It means do something that make people share some experience that they never shared before. So those something that's some work that we would like to share with you today. And we hope that with this story, how you see that the real and short video capture these days on Meta platform, we hope we have all the idea will come along for the next few months. So for the next phase, we get the swing into the panel with us.
Yeah, so we hope you are as excited as I am, as you see, say, some of the work like from Vietnam and also around the globe. And now I would like to invite like Trami and also like Funchi from Next Media. Thank you so much for joining us today, me and Chi. So first of all, I would like to invite Trami to share one of the best work that we just collaborate like with like Ogilvy and Nestle recently. Can you share a bit on the Milo Creek like story and the campaign with the audience here?
Okay, so hi everyone. So for over the 27 years in Vietnam, so Milo is always a brand who champions sustained energy and believe in the sport will be a great teacher to build the learning life lesson for kids and building kid character through a young age. However, during the pandemic, so there's a change in the habit and ritual and perception of the parenting. So the parent nowadays is looking at successful for the kids and how to raise a kid will be different. So the challenge of Milo is how to be relevant with the, let's say the related millennial and Gen Z mom nowadays. Remember, Gen Z nowadays is already in their 30s. So how we make our brand purpose to really relevant with the new normal and the new context. So that is the objective. And second one, as a leadership iconic brand in Vietnam, how we make our creative, not only selling the product, but also make an impact into the culture and helping to support parents on the way to, on the journey to their kid everyday betterment. So that is the brief from brand team gave to Ogilvy. I think let's watch the K videos and then I will share with you how we overcome with that. So this is the campaign.
Grit is a trend that has been well established globally, and it made a great impact to millions of kids' lives. This is how we brought grit to Vietnam. There was an old perception that talents always lead to success, and grit wasn't in the spotlight. So Milo wanted to encourage Vietnamese moms to change this perception and let their kids build grit through sport at an early age. Talent is good, but grit is great. In order to bring this idea to life, Milo needs a trustful and informative platform for moms. Meta, therefore, a holistic campaign with full funnel, announce, educate, engage. On Meta, we're introduced to millions of Vietnamese moms, first and inclusive for Milo in Vietnam. Meta will provide toolkits for Milo KOLs to create reels on Facebook, along with training workshops with Creative Shop. Milo Vietnam content creators were inspired and trained to tell their quick story through real format. And then hundreds of personalized content were brought to life, and this aspiration story helped bring kids closer to mom and kids. And to engage more with moms, we encourage kids to join our new fresh out exciting platform, the Milo Creek E-Academy. Through all this, mom would develop a new definition of success for their kids, Not only their physical energy can be fuel, but also their grit. In the only first quarter of 2022, we received impressive number on brand lift study on Facebook for the Total Grit campaign and the Grit Reels and story. It didn't stop there. The performance on Facebook was also extremely impressive. We reached 7.5 million views. With a result of 18 million, we also hit the peak of impression. View rate saw 4 times. Conversion rate gained 10%. 15,000 unique personal identifiable information data was collected, and cost per action and return on advertising spend rapidly went up 5.6 times. By bringing the consumer at the heart of digital experience, the Milo Grid campaign has gained the best in the class results for both absolute lift and relative lift compared with other campaigns, running on the same metrics. And as a result, grit was easily communicated as an essential part of kids' wholesome growth and future success.
Yeah, so this is Milo Crit. I hope like some of you have a chance to see or to read the book named Crit from the same author. I think Crit is a great like quality for kids to have that not many like mom and parent in Vietnam are understanding and praising the concept of like having a great attitude.
The reason why we come up with grit is we deep dive in the culture of parenting nowadays. Even nowadays, we have the new, free range of parenting. However, the performance mindset is still over the growth mindset of Vietnamese parenting right now. So they always encourage kids to learn, a lot of potential, play sport to develop. But when it comes to success, academic achievement will be the top priority. So we want to challenge the norm, right? And by doing challenge the norm of, academy go first, whatever free time later is priority for sport. Grit cannot learn through book and class. Grit is the indicator of success in the future because it's the ability to endure and persevere in any challenge to come. And you cannot learn that through the book or the class. And sport field is the best place to learn that with the energy of Milo. So Milo believes that in whatever field that you are pursuing, talent is only counting 1%. 99% is the grit that you learn from the young age. So to challenge that norm, we need a new norm of parents to challenge the old norm of the old parents. That's why we embrace the grounds. So we want to, let a creative move and partnership with the creator movement in a mass scale for them to speak out, what is their point of view about grit and how grit will build that up in the future. Because we believe that the parent nowadays, they don't raise their kid like the parents, our parents before, because the world they will live in no longer exists.
Thank you so much, me.
So thank you me very much. So this is perhaps is the first campaign we leverage a really bigger scale of the creator in Vietnam, right? So Xuân, from the Meta point of view, can you share with the audience here what's the Meta role in this campaign and how we work with Milo and the OGV in arriving at the creative approach over here?
Sure. So the role of Meta in this particular campaign is we actually proposing two things. First of all, if you actually like look at like some of the elements of the campaign, we mentioned the word is real creator lab, right? So what does it mean? Before I'm actually talking about real creator lab, let's talk about real first. So why real, right? I think a lot of people here has been interacting with real. You watch a lot of real. Maybe many of us at the moment here already like share a real story. Real is an emergent experience in Vietnam, and we believe this is how people want to tell their story. Like a style, right? Real is basically the way that people freely to express their voice in an authentic way and without any filter. And the three things that we normally talking about real, there's no formula as any creativity, right? But there's two qualified defining quality of real that we really encourage people to use this format. First of all, it's really entertaining. It's really evoke an emotion response, and that's why people love the format. The second element of real is it's simple, it's easy to understand. So when people look at the creative, they immediately get it. And the third element is even more important. In any campaign, we need to make it like relevant. It's culturally relevant. It's to the voice of people who making sense for the campaign, making sense for the community. So that's the first thing that I would like to share about Real. So what is Real Creator basically? So the Real Creator Lab is a format that we are working with like Ogilvy and Nestle and Milo in this campaign to making sure that we do a hands-on program where we upskill client and also the creator community. This is what Meta offer to reduce a meaningful connection. So if you relate to the previous example that I showed with Boss, right? This is very similar. We also like work with like 8 creator, and we are actually working also with like photographers, show them how to do it. And we produce actually 11 reel for this campaign.
So our new opener looked like this. The bag was too small to do it at the stadium, so we took it home and cut the bag open to get that real effect of me lifting the ball out of the bag. But before changing the start, first things first, we made a stand for our phone.
And this is the result. So you can see that like it's actually coming from a lead creator. Like through the program, we actually guide them how to create the content that most relevant for them, represent their identity for this campaign.
Champions build in empty stadiums.
Hey yo, get your Milo!
Get your Milo!
So this is the whole journey like for the campaign Milo. So starting from like how to motivate the communities, how you actually spark conversation to interactive ad, and then also of course how you to be like activate the campaign idea. And the result is amazing. So I think probably in my whole career life, I haven't seen a campaign that can lift up your brand equity by 10 points. So this is amazing. And this is also like the moment I saw that I hardly can believe my eye. I thought it may be a mistake from the research agency, but no, this is the actual result.
It's not stopped like that. So I'm so happy to share with you live from Paris. Our media team is flying in there to receive a Grand Prix award of the Milo Creek campaign. It's the award show of Global, Nestle, and Meta Creative Award in Paris right now. So that is thanks to the effort of the entire CMS team of Nestle and the Milo brand team over there.
Congratulations.
Thank you for your praise.
Congratulations. I'm so impressed with the Milo Create and campaign. And now we would like to share another story, another collaboration that we did recently with Nest Media and Viet Saigon. You know, like that we shared earlier about our 4 elements, right? So during the SEA Games this year in May, it's wonderful. Like we have me here as well at the creative agency for this campaign. So can you share a bit of background of the campaign objective and brand objective point of view in this campaign?
Okay, so when it comes to football, it's the bloody battlefield of beer brand. Everyone knows that beer tries to own football, and we fight so hard on that. But for Viet Saigon, SEA Games 31 is the very unique experience and event because we know our opportunity and we know our objective is first, we are truly national beer brand. So we must own a national event and we must associate with the moment of national pride. So that is the first objective we have to win. And second one is Viet Saigon, we need to build our, let's say, connection back to our younger target audience who increasingly watch football online and through live stream. So we think that the best collaboration is to let the job be done by Nest Media.
Thank you, Me. On behalf of Next Media, let me have some light and information about the campaign that we did with Viet Saigon and Meta this year. I think for most of you understand that with Vietnam that we have the highest number of football lovers in Asia. the report from Nielsen Fan Insight show that there are 75% people in Vietnam love football. So we think that football is proudly represent the national sport and also national pride. We choose Meta as the platform that empower the key message of Beer Saigon because the highest coverage of our content in next sport. And we go to the case study that we want the brand, the Beer Saigon, involved deeply in our content strategy. Multiple ways of interaction is the key to win the young audience. And with this campaign, we can encourage the audience to shout out the emotion in the live streaming instead of the stadium. Yeah, because with Miss Me said that hô vang thẳng vàng, but we want our audience to shout out in the streaming in Meta platform. So knowing this, we use Meta to encourage the audience with some simple steps that they can reward the mobile cast. The one is most helpful gift for the mass audience, just by them to get the reward by poster and the chatbot right after they hashtag the Beer Saigon message in the live stream. And we divide the prize into many waves in a match. You know that in football we have at least 90 minutes, but we need to keep the audience and the fan into the live streaming for whole time. So we divide the prize in many waves, and the audience can understand that if they miss the chance to get the reward from Beer Saigon and they get the next one and next one. But one of the most important that everyone who has who received the reward, they receive it immediately after the hashtag message because of the chatbot and also the organization.
That is shop the moment, right at the moment.
Correctly. Actually, thank you for sharing, Chi. Whatever Chi and me just sharing, with link back to us a 4 element we talked to you about, the 4 creative behavior earlier. How to empower the crowd and how to shape the moment. Empower the crowd over here is football. Shape the moment is how we can link to that trend when people following the trend and the brand jump it in. At the brand, you don't want to miss this moment. Yeah. Thank you so much, Chi. That's a wonderful collaboration between Nest Media and Beer Saigon. Yeah. And Chi, I know that the results are amazing, right? You can share detail on this one.
We are proud of the amazing results we do together. Because you know that with CM31, it is quite difficult for everyone, especially the beer brand, to engage. But I think that the result is totally amazing. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Chief, on this one. Congratulations again to Nest Media and Beer Saigon and Ogilvy for an amazing campaign. And cultural relevance is always the best reflection for short video and reels. As we can say today, you can see a lot of video we share on VR reel. Please don't miss it. And that's how we empower people. We follow in the trend, empower community. And now we invite all of you here to watch another work that we just launched in Vietnam from the VIP Bank. This work is the latest collaboration between the VIP, TBWA, Mediacom, and Meta to launch the first female virtual financial advisor in Vietnam. Our client, unfortunately, is not able to join panel today. So with their permission, we have a Xuân over here share a bit more of the context of this work and how we arrived in this idea.
Thank you, Nam. I'm so proud and excited to share this work on behalf of our client VIP Bank. Let's meet V, our chuyên gia tài chính số đầu tiên tại Việt Nam từ ngân hàng VIP. Can you please play the video?
Đồ mới của lòng tôi. Sáng làm chuyên gia tài chính, tối làm content creator. Đồ nhất cái đất. Biết tất tần tật, dẫn đầu mọi xu hướng tài chính và công nghệ. Ủa, mà đang nói ai vậy? Vi, chuyên gia tài chính ảo đầu tiên tại Việt Nam từ VIP. Chuyên gia tài chính ảo Vi. Chuyên gia tài chính ảo Vi. Đầu tiên tại Việt Nam từ VIP. Đến từ thế giới ảo, làm sao đâu thế giới thật. Chuyên gia tài chính ảo đưa ra lời khuyên cháy. Làm việc với Vi thì có tài chính. Vi không có nhiều tài lẻ, chỉ có xài thẻ với Vi là tài chính. Gọi anh là chàng trai IT, vì cuộc đời anh phải cần vi tính. Anh chỉ cần có tài khoản là Vi cuộc chiều. Thẻ online plus 2 trong 1, có chat credit profile debit. Yêu đại đi Grab, giảm nữa giá. Thẻ Travel Elite, phí giao dịch ngoại tệ tốt nhất. Thẻ zero interest rate, miễn là cho đơn duy nhất tại Việt Nam. Chuyên gia tài chính ảo Vi, chuyên gia tài chính ảo Vi. Đầu tiên tại Việt Nam từ VIP.
The audience already have a stand up and let me skip the video, please.
Đầu tiên tại Việt Nam từ VIP.
Yeah, so I think this is a very interesting work coming out from Vietnam, and we are very impressed. We actually expecting like virtual identity will only happening in the next 2-3 years, as part of metaverse, with tech emerging. However, like even our client really like impressed us with the innovation idea. The original idea of V actually coming from VIB Bank. And the creative agency is the one who actually producing the virtual influencer. So I just want to share with you a few sneak bits of the campaign. It's on the slide, and also like some early results of the campaign. This is an evidence of how the culture here has embraced like pioneering and embraced creativity. And we hope like some of the work here inspire you to looking ahead and to apply the idea in the future. Thank you so much for being here with us, and thank you so much. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask any of us later on.
Once again, on behalf of Meta, thank you so much for the participant for our panel today. Thank you to our partner for all the work you do. Thank you to Next Media and Ogilvy. And we would like to see more successful work with you guys and show you guys for the next meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, ladies. It was a wonderful. It was great to see an all-women panel on Women's Day. So
yeah,
that's even better.
Yeah, on behalf of the woman power, we wish you a wonderful day.
Thank
the
you.
woman sitting there.
Thank you.
Yes.
So we know we are running a little behind schedule, so we'll try and catch up as much as we can. We are about 15 minutes behind schedule now, but I'll get to our next guest. This is a session that I spoke about earlier before lunch. This is a session about mental well-being. You can just remove one. Just one. This is a session about mental well-being. We all know we've gone through last 2 years. You can leave it here. Thank you. We've gone through last 2 years, and this is a challenge that every organization is facing. Individuals at home, families, everywhere. So what we've done is we've actually invited Dr. Lay. He's a psychiatrist. He's done his doctorate from US. He was a teacher in Long Beach and Chapman universities in US, has now moved to Vietnam. And he's going to share with us some of his perspectives of why it is important to actually have mental well-being in organizations. We all know the biggest asset of any organization is, anybody? Which is the biggest asset of any organization? People. So how do you manage people? How do you manage the balance? How do you make sure the mental well-being, which is really a challenge, especially because of COVID, how do you do that? And what is it that you can learn, one, for your organization, and secondly, for individually for yourself? So with that, let me invite Dr. Lay on the stage, please. Big round of applause for him.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. I have a challenge. Dr. Lay, I was asking him something interesting of what his passion is, and he told me Buddhism, neuroscience, and the combination between neuroscience and Buddhism. I found it very difficult to understand. Maybe he can explain to us, but he is also a Bob Dylan fan. So hopefully you'll create some music for us now.
Yes.
Thank you.
Actually, in the past 20 years, I mean, there's a lot of improvement in neuroscan technology. So we know much more about neuropsychology, neuroscience. And the more we know about that, the more we could apply those knowledge into psychotherapy. And as a Buddhist, I also learned to study mindfulness, as you all know, mindfulness and some kind of meditation. So I see the relationship and they could improve each other. But today, I will choose a topic to share with you as he shared that human is the most very important asset to our companies. What can we do to help to retain, to avoid retraining, recruiting people? And especially after 2 years of COVID, there's much more we can do because mental health is something important. This is my pack. I would like to ask you, in the past 3 months, who of you waking up in the middle of the night and the first thing you think is something unfinished business in your company, and after that, you cannot go back to sleep? Who? Please raise your hand. I see some of them, and me, myself. 5 years ago, as a chairperson of the Consortium to Advance School Psychology in Vietnam, I woke up at night at 3 p.m. There's no like a mystery or ghost story about that. 3 a.m., the first thing came to my mind was some unfinished business. Couldn't return to sleep. And after 3 months, actually only 3 months, I had my PAC. What is PAC? Political Action Committee. At the time I was in America. Or like a picture, Pan-African Council. Or polyamory. Anyone who knows what does mean polyamory? You don't know polyamory? Oh, okay. Amorous, amory, love, polyamory, a lot of love. And for sure, if you have a lot of love, your heart will span conflict. And actually, if you have stress, after just a couple of months, you could have premature atrium contraction like myself. Walking up the stair, just one stair, I couldn't, catch my breath and had to take medicine. So I quit. I quit my position. I started to meditate again, exercise, all of those things. So now I'm doing okay. But that's what we can do. I mean, to ourselves, if we have stress, and what kind of stress? Stress is very natural reaction of our body, mentally and physically, to a challenge. The problem is, it may not be a real challenge. It's your own perception about the challenge, or something you recall, something you project to the future, but it's a threat to yourself. So something, and especially when you perceive that you cannot overcome that. But so it could happen quickly, or it could happen, perpetually, or it's a chronic one. When you feel you're trapped in the position, you're trapped in the situation that you cannot escape. For instance, a job with a lot of stress, and you cannot quit, you cannot leave because your ego, the salary, or everything else. But stress is not completely bad. If you have used stress, it's something challenging, but it excites you and you like it. For instance, if you go on the roller coaster. For instance, if this model, you can see that if the stress is not too much, then you will be at your peak, at your performance. Because if there's no stress, if you have to repeat, your employees have to repeat a job days and out, then it could be boredom. But if it's too much, then it will be burned out, and for sure, that's stress. Cause of job stress, okay, this is from University of Massachusetts. You see that's what you can get for your company. I mean, replacing an average employee, absenteeism, annual sick leave, everything. That's a result of stress. How you feel it? It's on your body. Anything that you feel tense, hardened, your heart raised up, and then you cannot sleep. You feel like you want to go out, eat all of the time. You become angry. You become, irritable, and sometimes it leads to depressed. Especially your performance for sure will suffer because your cognitive performance decline. And if you, like myself, with PAC, in the long run, you have the Takotsubo syndrome, when your heart will become without shape, the shape of the squid catcher in Japan. And that's the reason they call it Takotsubo syndrome. According to WHO, all of these areas could cause stress. Repeatedly, and simple tasks, manual tasks, the workload too much, the work pace too fast, the working hours not considering for work and life balance, and the employee has no ownership, participating, or controlling of their environment. Or it could be work context, the ability to advance career-wise, their role in the organization, they feel like they couldn't get connected with others, or the organizational culture. All of those things, what can we do about that? Coping with stress at the organizational level, who does recommend they have a manual with a lot of good recommendations, but basically that you can have the prevention at the organization level and the intervention at the individual level to provide them with mental health support. The working environment friendly and relaxing. And during the COVID, for instance, what are they doing out there? I took a sample of 3 completely different companies: Chevron, Financial Times newspaper, and Culligan Water. What do they have? They provide stress counseling services, workshop, mental health coach, group, individual meditation program. Mindfulness becomes a trend in the world right now. And in the Western world, they are detached from the religious connotation. So we can practice and using it as a mind technique, a technique to train your mind. But at the individual level, what could you do? For instance, now sitting in this room, if you feel stressed, what can you do? According to my study, at least you can do the first 5 things here. First thing is touch. As you all know, your lip, it has a lot of nerve ends. So when you feel stressed, sit down, at the place that nobody will look at you and think that you are crazy if you do it. Touch your lips. Everybody, give it a try. If your finger is clean enough, okay, put it on your lips and rub it, touch it, caress it, and pay attention to that. Pay attention to the sensation. Now, you know why we kiss, am I right? And the French kiss has some disadvantage of not providing stress reduction technique. Then yawn. Have you ever, there's a person, I just mentioned the word yawn and he started to yawn already. Yawn is a coping mechanism. If you feel like so tired, you started to yawn. And when you yawn, you start to feel relaxed. So you can force your yawn. Welcome. Anyone who yawn, I mean, give them an applause. I mean, they know how to take care of themselves. Yawning is very normal reaction. Don't take it like something like I'm lazy at the time. I should be strong as other. And wash. Have you ever walking in a shower, turn on the faucet, and you feel the need to pee? That's a reaction of the parasympathetic nervous system to be activated. When you feel like that, your body started to relax. So that's you take a wash, shower. That's shower. But what you can do with the wash? When you feel stress, you can take out a bowl of ice water. Dip your face into that for like 15 seconds. Lift it up very quickly. And then it will help you to relax. And lastly, breathe. Take a deep breath slowly and breathe out slowly. When your exhalation is move up and pay attention to your legs, lower legs. Feel them. Feel the sensation where the trouser or the skirt touch your skin. Slowly, slowly move it up to your upper leg and feel it. Your hips and your belly, the whole trunk and the arms. Be aware of the sensation, not the images of those body parts, but the sensation. Cold, hot, relaxing, hands. Now move up to your shoulder, your neck, your face, and the whole head. And continue to close your eyes and pay attention to the sound in this room. The sounds of my voice, only the sounds of this moment. The sound of the air conditioning, someone coughing, take it in and be aware of those sounds. Now pay attention to the smell When you inhale, you feel it. When you exhale, you feel it. You are aware of the smell in the air. And now slowly, you open your eyes and you pay attention to your surrounding. Anything big, colorful, anything small, light, colorless. Take a look at them. It's the first time you see them. Okay? And thank you very much for your mindfulness.
Thank you, Doctor. That was very insightful. I am sure people will take huge learning out of this. I do want to open it up and encourage people to ask questions. And I know this is a sort of a sensitive topic, if you will, and people would not be very open. But if you do have questions on this from an organization, personal perspective, please do send it to MMA. We will try and see if we can facilitate some of those questions with Dr. Lay and see if we can get an engagement going. One question I had for you, listening to your presentation, you talked about the faucet, right? The concept of faucet in the bathroom, right?
A
faucet, right? If that is the way, that's the journal approach, if there is, how do you know when to switch it off?
To switch which off?
The faucet. The analogy that you were giving.
The analogy, oh. Okay. I mean, when you are challenged with certain stimuli, you know, and you perceive it as a threat, I mean, just go with the flow, be aware of that. Don't add your thoughts to that. Don't try, I mean, in cognitive therapy, they call it cognitive distortion.
Okay.
Don't just add any element to that and try to analyze it as they are. And then you would use the techniques I use to reduce your level of stress. And then one step by step, if you have a concrete plan, you will solve it.
Okay.
Then that's a way you could say that is you turn it off. Okay. You cannot completely avoid the primary emotional reaction to a certain threat because that's in your survival, you know, instinct. But don't add any thought to that. Don't worry that it was something will happen in the future, or don't recall anything bad in the past. Try to focus on the here and now. And the here and now is what you hear right now. The last practice, meditation practice, what you smell right now and what you see right now. Come back to the five senses instead of being trapped in your thought.
Great. Thank you so much for your
thank
session.
you much.
Thank you.
My pleasure.
A round of
My
applause,
pleasure.
please.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. So we're going to move from here and now to a powerhouse session. I was with my team, I was calling it the unicorn session. This is a panel discussion driving leadership innovation. The idea of this session and to build the bridge is the continuity that we've been doing, some of the presentations that happened in the morning about Web 3.0, innovation, blockchain, and the whole consumer behavior that is changing. Super apps, for example, has made life easy for us. It's making available opportunities and instances for marketeers which never existed before. How will that transform the consumer behavior going forward? How will it make it easier and seamless for marketeers and agencies to create stories and compelling experiences going forward? So for that, we have a panel. On our panel, we have lovely Kate. Kate, if I can ask you to make your way here. Kate, she's the CEO of Publicis. Mr. Ken Mandel, who's the regional head of Grab Ads, and Mr. Min, who's the CEO of VNG. Welcome to the stage. A round of applause for them. Thank you. Thank you, buddy. Thank you. Thank you, sir. So, please take seat. Kate is a either ways. Case is a self-proclaimed Miss Boring. I don't think so that's true, but that's what she said. She loves to, she's a crazy, crazy about music shows, music concerts, and loves to go to different countries to see that, and loves to cook some paella, right?
Paella.
Paella. And she will help run a very exciting, not a boring session with the two gentlemen here. So I leave it in your hands now. Thank you.
Thank you, Rohit. So that's something interesting. That shouldn't be boring, Rohit, right? I love music concerts. I turn into a different person when I go to music concerts. So I think that's not boring. But let's ask Ken and Min, what is something interesting? Because the people here, they know you guys already. But tell them something interesting.
Something they don't know.
Yeah, something juicy.
Like a secret. Okay. It doesn't leave this room, though.
There's a lot of people.
I
Hard to
know.
control that.
That was a bad joke. I was once on a reality TV program in a really, I had to wear a horrible white suit. It was called Angel's Gate. It was about venture capital, but they took the angel, investor concept, and they decided we should all wear white suits like angels. It was horribly wrong.
What's behind the white suit?
The angel, like angel investing, the producer said the one thing that you can never deny. They just said it tested well, so shut up and wear the suit. So,
where was this?
in Singapore, it was a MediaCorp program.
So you're famous in Singapore?
Not really.
Mr. Min.
Yes.
Tell us something interesting, something juicy.
Okay, I'm not sure this can be considered juicy. But for me, it's interesting. About 2 weeks ago, I crossed off one of my bucket list item. So I complete the one of the hardest triathlon race in Kona, Hawaii. So I'm now a happy man.
That is impressive. One of the hardest triathlon in Hawaii. That is impressive, Mr. Min. Congratulations. All right, so guys, today we're going to talk about super apps. Does everyone know what super apps is? Yes? No? Yes? All right, that's good to hear. I can hear yes. Yes. What again? There's this lady. Oh, Huen, you were saying something. Okay, yeah. Super apps. We're going to talk about super apps. And it's rightful to say that our leaders on stage are leading beyond Vietnam, but globally. The boom of super apps has started in the East with Grab and Zalo amongst the pioneers, and the West are starting to follow. So thank you, gentlemen, for joining us today. And actually, let's make this super interesting because it's about super apps. These super apps are so ingrained in our everyday lives that it is almost impossible to live in Vietnam without having super apps in our mobile phones. So I'm just curious, does anyone in the audience, anyone doesn't have Zalo or Grab in their mobile phones? Can you please raise your hand? I'm just curious. 1, 2. Only 2. See? How many people today, Rohit? Around 500. 2 out of 500 doesn't have super apps. So that is how it is ingrained in the daily lives, right? So just curious, because your apps, Min and Ken, they're both different. Do you agree that it should be called super apps? And if not, how would you define a super app?
Yeah, I think it's a good term. I mean, we look at Grab as like an everyday app to help you with the things you need to do in your life. And you're right, it started in the East, so we probably look more East than we look West. And so for us, the super app is quite fitting, but I think you have to think about it where you put the consumer at the center of it. It all starts with the consumer being at the center of the super app, but it's an ecosystem. So it's not just about the consumer, it's about our driver partners, our food delivery partners, our merchants. And I often like to think of Grab as like Planet Grab, where people are like citizens, right? It's not that you're a consumer, you're a citizen, because a citizen is at a higher level, and the ecosystem works together. And so it's a really powerful way to get a lot of features and benefits into one app, but at the same time, because your credentials are there, your address, your payment methods, that makes transactions a lot easier. You don't have to keep entering all your details. So the more vertical services that we add, the value of the engagement and the usage goes up. And also with Grab Rewards, the more you use our app, the more you benefit. And that's what I think a super app should be, at least for my definition.
Thank you. Min, do you have anything to add?
Okay, so I may disappoint my good friend here, Ken, but I think when we talk about an app or product or business, and it takes a lot of sentence to explain what it is, then it can be very, very difficult to really tell that story to your client customers, right? So in fact, in BNG, we don't like the term super apps at all, because you need to ask what it is, and people are going to have different definition of what it is. For us, an application, a product need to have a very clear uses and application, and we should be able to really say it simple to the user. So for us, Zalo, first and foremost, is a communication messaging app. Actually, we call it more like a communication, because now people actually use Zalo for calls, videos a lot more from a time perspective compared to messaging. So it's a communication app. And internally, we would like to make sure that it is the most important function that the team always focus on. I think the word super app is being used more on a marketing terms than a actual. Maybe I'm more, we talk more from a product and technology perspective. So we don't consider ourselves a super app. For us, Zalo need to be and always be a communication application, and we need to do that job the best in the world.
So it's interesting. Yeah, I think super app has become a buzzword in marketing, right? But we may have different interpretation of what it is, but at its core, it's really driving convenience for the people, for human, right? So also on this aspect, right, it's almost 1 year since COVID lockdown has been lifted in Vietnam. I remember that was October 2021 when it was lifted. And we all know that a lot has changed. Can you tell us what consumer behavior that you saw unfolded during the pandemic, and whether those behaviors have persisted until today?
Sure, I'll go first. I think it was Satya Nadella, the CEO of Microsoft, who said, we saw in 2 months, 2 years of transformation. And so if you think about that, like 2 months equals 2 years, that's quite intense. And so a lot of behavioral patterns changed. And we know that the most difficult thing to do in marketing or advertising is to change behavior. So when you have something like a pandemic, which is not a positive thing, I'm not saying it was good, but there was silver linings, and it drove a lot of adoption of new types of behaviors. We saw food delivery grow incredibly during that time. I think 2020 versus 2021, we saw like 50% more usage of Grab Mart. So and these behaviors have stuck. And when we even talk to our partners, such as McDonald's, they, pre-pandemic, 10% of their business was delivery. Post-pandemic, it's now 30. So it really moves the needle quickly. But it also is, there was certain behaviors, like I don't think anyone wants to do a Zoom wedding anymore, right? Yeah. Like these are things we can leave behind, hopefully, and focus on the good. But yeah, you really saw behavior change, and you see it sticking. I mean, it's a bit, too early to say, because I don't know if we're completely out of the woods. I hope so. But at the same time, we definitely saw behavioral patterns change quickly, and so far stick.
Yeah, it's probably because they realize the convenience, and then they continue doing so, right?
I think, people were forced to use the services. I mean, in many countries, we were deemed an essential service. And so you had people who had no choice. They needed to eat. And sure, I mean, the convenience, I'd like to say it's because the app's amazing. It's all about convenience and it's so good. But also, there was no choice. People had to eat. They had to order food. And so it forced a lot of people to try, quick service, quick delivery for the first time.
Right.
And that's really what changed the behavior.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And they realized that, oh, it makes my life easier.
They realized it
Right.
after. Yeah.
Mr. Min, you want to add something?
I think one thing interesting, 2021 for us is the best year for Zalo from a user perspective, because obviously people stay home and they need to use, they need to communicate a lot for many reasons. But one thing that we observe, and I think that this is not very obvious, is that because of, you see, the amount of worries and all these fake news and all these different rumors about different kind of like things happen around you, especially during the COVID period, people now actually place a lot more value on the source of truth. So, and also they're gonna need to kind of like care more about privacies, about, kind of like how can they believe, how can they protect, their privacy, and how can they relate to the closest people around them. So I think that something that we observe that may, because of the products that we run, that may be not very obvious to the rest of the industry that we would like to share. So I think that has been the focus of Zalo and BNG for a number of years, and we actually double down a lot on these privacies and making sure to operate a very clean communication platform. So kind of like, I thank you for using Zalo and trusting Zalo. And then actually you only seen the surface, right? Beneath the surface, we actually invest a lot to make sure that there's none of these kind of like spamming, bad content, bad actors appear on the platform, because we want to protect that integrity and privacy, which for us is the most important thing. And we see that the user continue to focus and reward us for that kind of like, investment that we make on.
That is very reassuring, because it becomes a barrier sometimes to engage more in the super apps, as people can tend to, be worried about data privacy. So it's great to hear that there are real efforts, going on behind this. So just another question. What does today's hybrid world look like for both of your companies? Is there such thing as an average user? And if so, how does that look like with all the changes?
Yeah, I think if you just took the three of us, like we're different, right? And then if you take everyone in the room, so there is no such thing as an average user. I also think there's no such thing, though, as living completely in the real world anymore. People do have online lives. It might get so extreme that we only live in the metaverse. I don't know. We're not there yet. Personally, that's probably not for me, but my kids call me a boomer, so there you go. But ultimately, it is a hybrid world. Now, what that means is that if you're using a super app, that obviously there's an opportunity to see things online and then physically move people offline to the point of purchase, which is quite a good opportunity for us, because we're really able to see that we can move a transaction from online to an offline point of purchase and close that loop at the point of sale, which has always been the holy grail of advertising. I wouldn't say that we're 100% there yet, but that's the vision and the direction that we're going, because the online to offline really takes advantage of the hybrid existence of consumers today. I guess you can go the other way too, right? You can go offline to online, but we're probably more focused on the former. So hybrid is definitely here to stay. The question will be, how deep it will go for certain people. I do think, though, that real world connections and conferences like this are really important. And it's a real pleasure to be here and see so many old friends and meet new ones, because I think we are, social animals at the end of the day, and you don't get the same sort of connections as you do online. So offline is not going away anytime soon.
I think Ken answered the question already, and I just want to share a little bit of a different angle because about a few months ago, then we have a discussion, and then we talk about what's gonna happen next, kind of like and I think I said to the team that despite all the things that happened in the past 20 years, the fact that we're still talking about technology and very excited about it today mean that we are only at the beginning. And why I say that questions? Because if you think back about 100 years ago when electricity arrived on the scene, right? I mean, electricity actually changed, so many things in 20th century. And 100 years ago, all the electricity company is the cool startup of the days, and people are excited and, invent so many things. And today, no one talk about it anymore. It's everywhere. Kind of like for us, is in the background. It power everything. It make us. I mean, it's boring to talk about electricity. And in a way, there's still a lot more innovation coming from electricity. I mean, like Elon Musk, for example, with all these EV and all these kind of like Tesla thing. So I think technology as a whole, especially mobile technology and internet, as long as we still talk a lot about it and feel excited, we still at the beginning point. And until it disappear, until it become boring, nobody care about it anymore, and maybe we reach a success point.
So that is interesting. I want to ask the next question. So what is the next big thing in super apps? What is the next big thing?
I mean, in a way, I think that we kind of see it already, especially with this room, in the rise of TikTok, right? And I think about 5-7 years ago, everybody talk about AI and machine learning is the buzzword of the day. And now, not a lot of people talk about it anymore, because what happened is companies, I mean, especially technology company, have invested a lot in AI and machine learning, and integrated in almost all aspects of their core products. And you don't see it. It's like the example I talk about electricity. So nobody talk about AI anymore, and then actually is one of the major reasons behind the rise of TikTok, because they just change the whole paradigm of content consumptions and the recommendation. I mean, like, no one talk about an AI-enabled content recommendation platform 5 years ago. I mean, those people figured it out, and that's why they're winning right now, and no one is catching up to them on that aspect. I mean, sorry, all the other guys in the room, but that's our views, and kind of like, So to answer that question, we think that AI and machine learning is right now the most important thing in technology, and internally we invest a lot. Also, under the hood, there's a lot of AI and machine learning innovation inside Zalo, or some of the other product that we're doing. I'm just having a review session with the payment team, and they talk about one of the AI platform that they are building, and internally they call NBA. It's not standing for the Basketball Association of North America. It's actually stand for next best action. And what next best action? And if you think about it, like, it's similar, in a way, it's similar to what the TikTok algorithm, right? So it's next best piece of content for you. And we want to create a platform where, let's say, from a payment perspective, the user will be recommend the next best action. And they have some initial result, and they're very excited about it. They want me to invest more in the platform, and even next year they want to open up to merchant and partners, because they believe that's going to be driving the values for the consumer and the merchants. So internally we really believe in AI. I mean, obviously, that's going to be a cliche to say, but like I say, the thing right now that people don't talk about, that people talk about 5 years ago, that is what really happening at the moment.
So now, guys, you've heard it from Mr. Min, you've heard it from Mr. Ken. There's so much things, right, that we can.
Can I talk about the next big thing?
Oh yeah, sorry, because I was about to ask.
No, that was
that
was an amazing answer, but and I think it's actually correct. I mean, if you think about electricity, we don't talk about it, and probably won't talk about AI in the future. It will be very much like electricity. But it reminds me of something else, which is a concept where you've always heard of brand equity, right? I mean, being the head of the Publicis group here, brand equity is very important for brands. But if you think of it from the consumer perspective, it's not. You never hear about a consumer say, "Oh, I like this brand because they have high brand equity." What do they really want? So I think one of the next things is what I would call brand utility. Like, does your brand actually deliver value for consumers? And by value, it's not like a discount. It's do they make their lives? Does it make their lives better? And you have to think about the fact that brands, especially during the pandemic, people were, they were on edge, and they would gravitate to brands that actually gave them calm, actually did something like Peloton. Interesting combination of hardware, software, and community. That's that exercise bike that you ride, but you're connected to this community of people, and then you're always trying to be better than you were the day before. And it's a really sort of fascinating example. This band on my wrist, it's called the Whoop band, WHOOP, and I don't have any shares in the company. I'm not trying to sell it, but it's just a band. There's no screen. All it does is it gamifies my health metrics. So it judges me a lot. Like, it tells me when I drink too much the next day, it's like you're in the red, because alcohol, upsets your sleep patterns, the sugar or whatever is in it. And so it gamifies my health in a way that this brand, for me at least, drives utility back to my life. And I think that will be something that we're going to have to look at as marketers, that brand utility might become a lot more important than brand equity, at least from the consumer's point of view.
Yeah, so I believe in brand utility. I believe in the value that brands can bring to consumers, because that's how you really change people's lives, right? That's how you really, impact people's lives. And yeah, so I wanted to open the floor for questions. I hope you don't mind, because it's a very rare occasion to have this powerhouse of panelists on stage. Anyone from the marketers here wants to ask question to Mr. Min and Mr. Ken? Anyone? No questions? You want to ask any question? Shy people. Maybe you ask them questions, Ken.
All of them?
So no questions? Okay. Let me see if I have more questions. So what are the challenges as leaders of innovations that you guys are facing today?
I think one of the challenges, I mean, not necessarily about innovation, but one thing that's very topical is return to office. And I think it's related to innovation in a way, because I don't know if you drive innovation as hard and as well remote working. Like, I could be wrong. I'm not saying that it's impossible, but one of the key challenges to all companies right now, especially tech companies, is what is the right balance of coming back to the office. And it's a very sensitive topic. And so, if you think about it, we hired literally thousands of employees during the pandemic, 2 years. And some of those people who joined, okay, let's say in Singapore, returning to office is not a big deal. Singapore is not that big. But what if you were hired in Indonesia and you live, good 2 hours outside of Jakarta? Are you going to do a 4-hour commute? And so they're sort of saying, well, hold it. When I came to join this company, it was during the pandemic. And now all of a sudden, you want me to come to the office, and that's 4 hours of their life. So we have to be very sensitive to the different parts of our market and the different countries. But where we landed on is that really for us to innovate and execute at the speed that we need 2 days in the office at least, with a third day that you can come in any day you want. But the 2 days you come in to work with your team. Everyone on your team is in that day, because we have to bring those bonds, those people back together. Because the pandemic is, to say the least, was a very strange time. And the best analogy I've heard is actually a military view of the pandemic and why there's this great resignation happening. It's because if you think of the military, when you do a tour of duty and you get shipped off to Afghanistan, and you spend 2 years there, and then you come back into society, your life isn't the same as when you left. Now, do the military just like land and then hit the bar that night? No, they spend maybe 3 weeks, 4 weeks, I don't know exactly, but they're basically going through a program before they re-enter society. So basically the whole world got redeployed post-pandemic, and guess what? Some people really like their pandemic life, and some other people are like, I can't wait to get back into the office. So it is a sensitive time, and I think innovation doesn't really happen if you don't get people together. At least that's been our experience.
Mr. Min?
Yeah, so I mean, I think that we increasingly have more challenges that we want to think about. Even though our company slogan is always embracing challenges. But I think for us, particularly the tech industry, this is obviously, I mean, this period and particularly this year is not a great year at all. Not just from a valuation market perspective, but then people, how the people, the public, and the different part of the economy think about tech, right? So now you read newspaper every day. I don't think that you're gonna have any good news about tech industry, and for me the challenge is how to see through all that and believe in a long term and continue to believe in the core fundamental of what we do. We love technology. Again, we believe that everything is just a starting line. There's still so much work to be done. How can we focus and keep the motivation when there's so much negativity around us? So that's kind of like always going to be the greatest challenge from a leadership perspective.
Thank you very much. One last word to share to the audience, parting word, one sentence, as leaders of innovation.
Go out there and live. 2 years is a long time. Make the best of everything. Oh, now there's a question.
Oh, there's a question. Fantastic. So happy.
We should give him a gift.
Yeah.
I will. First question.
First question.
Hi. I'm sorry, I finally found the courage to ask this question. But first of all, I would like to say thank you very much to all the presenters and all the speakers. It was really, really interesting, and I found very good insight. But I have one question regarding the TikTok, the short, the reels that everybody's been talking about. And now you mentioned it is the next big thing, and everybody is investing a lot on it. But I'm just a bit worried. What about reduction of attention span? What about cognitive decline? Because we focus too much on the surface, and too many information bombarded us when we see those videos. Thank you.
Great question.
Okay, I'll go for it. Yeah. I mean, I'm with you on this. I understand it. I have 2 teenage boys, and it is a concern. But I think at the same time, people have to learn that when enough is enough, and you need that self-discipline. It doesn't mean that TikTok is bad, but if you do it 18 hours a day, that's pretty unhealthy. But if you do anything 18 hours a day, that's pretty unhealthy. So I feel that it's not right to maybe single out one company. The issue is that our attention span is ultimately getting shorter and shorter. Like, I think goldfish maybe have a higher attention span. I've heard that before. I don't know the science behind it. But the point is that it is a concern for society. And I don't know, I guess there's a lot of parents out there, and my advice is that you really have to lay the ground rules early. And screen time is a big concern, especially when schools go online as well. Because when they handed my boys a computer at grade 6, a MacBook Air, and then they're like, yeah, all your homework's online. And then as a parent, we have to then figure out, are they doing schoolwork? Are you on TikTok? Are you on Discord or whatever? And it's really challenging. So lay the ground rules early, but also educate. We have to educate ourselves to say, hey, balance is everything, which I learned from my friend Min, is that he really focuses on balance. And I think it's the same with social media. You have to make sure that you enjoy it, that's fine, but balance it with other things.
All right, time's up, but I want to hear from Mr. Min one last word for the audience, because we heard it from Mr. Ken. Min?
The last word sounds not very nice. So truthfully speaking, I don't really have. Maybe I just hope that because I'm not a marketing person background. I'm even though I'm not trained technology, but then because I work in the industry for a long time, I consider myself a technologist. And then I think that maybe the point of view, and I often taken a very different point of view. So maybe the sharing with the audience is that you are a marketer at heart, right? So there's many things that you kind of like feel excited about, like campaign, like brand, like story, like images and music, festivals, so on and so forth. So always good to occasionally be in a very different role and do something very different, and maybe trying to learn how a technologist think. Maybe that's some sharing, and that I'm sure going to be very beneficial to you. Thank you.
Great summary.
Thank you so
Great.
much.
Thank you so much, guys. Really
Thank you for
appreciate
the
you
question.
taking time to do this session. There are a lot of learnings there. Thank you. Round of applause, please. Thank you, man. Thank you. Thank you. We got a question finally. Not many people asking questions. Great. Thank you. Sorry, we are going to do a quick lucky draw. You all have this badge. There's a number written here on the badge. Please make a note of the number. We're going to run the lucky draw on the screen. Whatever number comes, please raise your hand and pick up your lucky draw as we set up time for the next panel. So can we have the screen? Can we show the number, please?
5 minutes. 5 minutes.
$255. Anybody in the room with 255? There. Okay. Please come. So we have a winner here. Great. If you can make your way there. I'm gonna go to the next session. There, please select your gift. Okay, so the next session is all about payments and gaming. So we have one more. Do we have one more? Okay. $145. $145. Not in the room. Okay, we'll do another lucky draw later. So the next panel that I wanted to introduce is gaming and payments. We all know, especially with COVID and the last 2 years, gaming has become a rage. It's not only children, it's not only men, it's women. Everybody is actually big on gaming. And a lot of that is actually fueling the growth of payments also. Gamification, gaming, esports. And it's not just about money, it's about the payments, it's about the whole ecosystem of facilitating how those experiences, rewards, etc., are being provided to the consumers. I think it's the reward economy that we are building. Everybody is building towards providing that extra value to the consumer.
Like that?
So for that session, may I invite Ms. Kue, who leads Digital Turbine. Kue, Ms. Kue. Tin Le, Marketing Director for Momo. Aros from MGID, Regional Head. And Frank Pham from Suntree PepsiCo to take the discussion forward. Please. Thank you. Welcome. You can take your seat anywhere you want. Thank you. So, when I was talking to the speakers, I was trying to understand what they do. We have Miss Piano here. She likes to play piano. Mr. Karate there is learning karate or is an expert with karate. A musician and a gamer here, and a travel enthusiast. So I will leave it in your hands to take it forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Rohit. Actually, the section today that we are planning to run is not that serious, that we're going to make it fun and helpful. So actually, that any of you here that have a game in your phone that you can start to play, and if you have any unpaid bill that you can just do so. So that is about gaming and payment. So that's what we need to do. Actually, I'm just kidding. To start with this, that I would like to start with Ms. Aros. So mobile gaming and digital payment, that are the two things that have grown rapidly during COVID pandemic. And how can you please share with the audience that how these two trends that help shaping branding campaign in Vietnam?
Thank you. Hello, everyone. So my name is Aras, as I've been introduced. I'm from MJD, Global Advertising Platform. Yeah, that's right. You know, the pandemic changed and actually shaped a few different trends. And the trends we're about to talk today is about gaming or even gamification at all. And of course, the payment. So, you know, to maybe avoid some like theory-based thought, I would give you a few cases that we actually experience in our company. So we on the side of media performance activation. So we run performance-based campaigns. And we have two examples. The example number one is from a fashion brand who is using COD model. COD is the cash on delivery model, and they just this is their model. Second example is the bookstore brand in Vietnam who run a straight sell model, and we know for sure that using the COD model, they are able out of 10 orders, they're able to get on average 7 sales. When the other brand does straight sale, out of 10, almost like close to 10 sales. That's a difference, you know. So at the same time, still in Vietnam today, out of 10 online shoppers, 7 choose COD. Okay, 5 years ago, it was 8. 5 years passed and it's 7. So don't question my question to everyone in the venue and to you guys. Don't you think it's kind of slow? 10% switch or shift from offline to online transaction for 5 years. if you will.
Didn't you have answer to that?
Following arrows, I think that you're right. Every consumer they change, they shift from the offline to online after pandemic. They change their behavior. Even from now, I see my mother. She also buy from online, not from the offline after the pandemic. And to build on up based on the question from chị Quế, I think that's a few years ago we see we focus mobile first, but now when the brand do they not focus on mobile first, but they think mobile friendly. So that's why in the expanding of the mobile game or the payment platform, I think this is the best way for brand can interact and engage with the consumer, not only to build awareness but also to build the interaction with the consumer. Yeah.
Yeah. I think I read on a research from Harvard saying that if you do a habit for like 72 days in a row, that become your habit. We have 2 or 3 years staying at home. We're forced to do e-commerce because that's the only way to get food, right? And whenever the shipper comes with some cash, we use hand sanitizer to spray all the cash wet. So we have all the conditions that we adapt the online payment and we adapt the non-cash payment. And in fact, what we notice is that the cashless payment has increased like 80% in the past year. And almost like 90% of the people we go out there as people, they know what e-wallet is. And if you notice from yourself how many times per week or a month that you go to the ATM machine to get cash. So I think that changes everything. And when we stay at home, we get bored. When we get bored, we play games.
So talking about game, that how do you think that gaming help brand to build like branding activity and marketing activity?
Yeah. When we talk about digital engagement, just game is one of the touch points. Frankly speaking, before I joined Momo, I didn't think of game as a very serious touch point. But when we do going back to a marketing need, we always need to do something to build awareness, engagement, education, and then a platform to distribute promotion. And you can do all that in games. Now I'm talking about the kind of the Flappy Bird games, not a kind of a Call of Duty game. But imagine that Mr. Min from VNG before, he was saying that he doesn't want to call Zalo Pay as a super app. Momo doesn't want to call Momo as a super app. But we do have a lot of services to educate people. So how do we educate people? We have to attract people on the platform, and we have to, give them some incentivize. We have to give them some turns to play the games, and we have to give them some task. If you complete the task, you get the turns and you get the chance to win or to get a chance to earn something else from the game. So that is how that we embed the awareness, the engagement, and especially the education piece into it. And because all games are fun, so we do it naturally through the games.
I see. So that's why that now more brands that try to incorporate gaming into their marketing campaign, because when people like playing game, they can absorb the ad better, more positive and more in the right, relaxed way.
Yeah.
You think so?
Yeah, of course. Some fun facts like with like $120,000, you can run a game for the month and you can get like 14 million impression out of the 32 million users on Momo, and you get as many as 700,000 people play your games. If you compare to a traditional way of doing it, you might spend a lot more than that. You can get like, might spend $1 million and to get some, 500,000 players. So I think economically, from marketing perspective as well, and I think this is a serious platform, a serious touch point digital.
Ian, you want to add anything?
I'm thinking about the game Touch Boy for the marketer. Yes, because when we think to do the communication for the user, we always think that where platform we can build awareness and where platform we can build for the interaction or in conversion. But with game, I think that we not only build awareness but also the interaction. Yes, and even for the conversion, it means at the end of the day, consumer not only play game, they also can pay the money on the platform. So if the brand, the marketer, they want to tap in game. So maybe this is the touch point that very potential for them because now we can see that the gamers they spend up to 3 to 4 hours per day for game. Yeah, so that's why they can keep in touch with the consumer and they can build good for the campaign if they choose uh, the right game that follow their target audience. Yeah.
Okay, very interesting point. Arad, do you want to add something in there?
I support guys, but from my side, it's a little bit. I would like to zoom out a little bit from the game itself and talk about the gamification. The situation is that users, readers, consumers, they got tired of traditional media, isn't it? That's why we have a race of ad blockers, right? So, and the industry is always on a constant search of something new, something interactive, is in something playable, right? When the brand can build the right communication and stand out. So, with the different technologies, thanks God, we have a technology, tech generation technology, and with this technology, we're able to build a gamified, playable message, the brand message, that actually, first, it engages the user, and the second, it delivers more information to the brand itself, what's going on over here, because before impression and landing to the page where you would like to land your user, at least in a web environment, there are a lot of things happen, but maybe not everyone analyze and have this information in their possession. So what actually rich media that I'm talking about is delivering is actually delivering the engagement and able to track and basically measure the engagement time when an engagement rate, like out of 1,000 impressions, how many users were interacting, doing something with the ad or visual. But we should think that when the user interacting with the message, it actually interacting with the brand. So all of this brings the communication, it's building communication in playable way and makes the brand stand out from the crowd. This is exactly what user looking for and what brand is looking for.
Thank you, Aros. Then I have a question for you. So what do you think about gaming compared with other digital touchpoints?
Yeah, like I said before, we care about awareness, engagement, education, and one surprising thing is promotion platform as well. For example, with Momo, with 31 million users, you have the awareness already. When you get in there, the banners on the app and the notification that we send out, that is guarantee awareness. But the fun part is that we push, normally we try to make people listen to us, but games, they come to us. So it has a very strong pull factor about it. And we, like I said before, we have a lot of services to educate. And you can embed the message. You can embed whatever you want to talk to them as a task for them to complete so that you have a chance to play more. So I think that is a fun thing. And think of it as a platform to distribute the promotion. Imagine Pokemon Go. But instead of you go out on the street and to catch a Pokemon, you catch a voucher. So for example, Circle K is distributing 1,000 voucher today at 10 p.m. everyone will line up and try to catch that voucher. And that is a gamification as well. So I think it's linked to the topic of payment as well. Yep.
Very interesting. Gang, as the you represent for the advertiser here, can you share with us your successful gamification campaign and how you to apply that successfully into your campaign, and what would be the watch out that we should pay attention for others?
Yes. I say one or two. Yeah. So first of all, let's be say about the campaigns we do last date. This is gamification with Momo. Yeah. Last date we cooperate with Momo with the Luxy. So I think everybody here also know the Luxy game. Yes, this is the biggest game in TED for all Vietnamese. So that's why our brand this is Mirinda. Our brand is about the laughing, everybody give the fun to the consumer. So we create the mechanic for consumer. The first, they have many choice on the Momo to play game. Not only one. The first, this is they can send. For example, I can send the lucky money to Tính and include the gift card, include the Mirinda key visual. This is the tiger iconic, yeah. And moreover, we always cooperate with some game like consumer can collect many kind of the Mirinda pieces, and then they can redeem the awards on the Momo. So I think this is the friendly way we can tap on the consumer on TED by gamification. Yes, because yes, we cannot compare with the maybe for the Chinese because they have the ecosystem to do many things. But now in the Vietnam, I think Momo is the good platform we can do for the gamification on TED for consumer. Yeah. And second, second this is we tap in with the like Tính said, it is a super game. Yes, this Liên Quân Mobile. And we have the energy drink. It means whenever consumer they play game, they need to boost the energy. So that's why our product here with the role to support for the consumer. Yeah. And when we do gamification on the game, we think that we not only run by the awareness or the banner on game. This means the branding in game only, but we need to tap in game by exclusive item or the event in game sponsored by our brand. And even at the time during pandemic, consumer cannot go out to buy the product because under the cap we also have the code, the Unicode for the consumer. They can redeem on the system and they can receive some exclusive gift from the game. So that's why we link with the e-commerce. So this is the payment also, yeah, and the product delivery to their home, and they can enjoy the game at home. Yeah.
I see. Very interesting. And I think that Pepsi also invests a lot in those super game.
Yes.
You see, Luxy is gonna be a lot more fun. Let's do it again.
Yeah. I think so.
Okay. Eros, as we discussed, do you think that you have any concern about running a campaign in gaming inventory?
Of course, always have concerns. So from our side, maybe we are not yet exactly in a gaming environment yet. And we considering this because this is definitely a big environment, big niche, and the advertisers also looking for it. At the same time, since we represent the brands, the advertisers, they raise questions, very reasonable questions. The safety, right? But the safety from both sides, from the brand side and also from the user side. Okay, from the brand side, we call it brand safety, and how gaming environment can guarantee it, how the brand can make sure that who is other brand that invest in this environment, what is the legal basis. That's for the brand side, but also concern about the user side, user privacy. I also would like to raise that on their behalf. How the games get the consent of the user to be addressed, to be targeted. What are the technology behind it? Is it like, what is the identificator behind it? Is it identity-based, person-based technology? Or maybe it is a content-based technology? Because, you know, right now there is like ongoing conversation about whether the privacy should be based on the ID, person ID, or they're content based. So of course, all of these questions matter. So if you can maybe share experience, what is it, how you make sure of both user privacy and brain safety in a gaming environment?
Actually, your concern is also a lot of brand concern. I understand that, but actually, for gaming environment, which is in-app, that it's a non-UGC content, so user cannot create any unwanted content in-app. So that is also a first point, that it's safe, and most of the app that have to be screened by Google Play and App Store already. So it have to be at certain level that to be accepted by those two. And especially in Vietnam, we are talking about premium app. We're not talking about like all other app like in the open market. For premium app, that they have to have a lot of compliance with like HOPA compliant, LDD, AD, compliant. So that's a lot of things that especially in Vietnam, that there was a law here that for all the gaming app, it have to have a public license to be able to carry ad here. So that is also a thing that very safe for the brand.
And I have a point about that because of the games in app. Imagine the brand is the game itself. Imagine we have the mixer game, just like a bartender mixing, and let's say Milo wants to join it. Milo wants to educate people. Okay, guys, there are more than 10 interesting recipes that you can have fun with Milo, and let's have that game where you add Milo with some secret ingredients into it and to create something. In that case, Milo is the game itself. So that would be totally safe, unless the brand manager of Milo decides to do something crazy, like put like whiskey into it or something. So I'm sure they're not going to do it. So in that case, the brand is the game. So so that is a safety check. Yeah.
Want to add something, Vivian?
Actually, I don't have any idea for this question. I just want to ask, as you are like the publisher of the game, you, how you can manage, and how, because some game are like by brand, but not by brand, by the global, and you buy to publish in Vietnam. So and maybe they have some new function. This is not the game is okay, brand safety, but maybe sometimes they have new function or something, or message that is not brand safe. So do you have any tool or any way that can manage it to make sure that when the advertiser they use they advertise on the game, totally this is brand safety?
In fact, I don't encounter this problem, so I can't speak from experience. The reason why I don't encounter this problem, because the games that we do is because we develop the games ourselves, and we are not looking at the super complicated games that will select, that will be quite niche to the players, but we go for the mass games, the kind of Pokemon kind of idea, the kind of Flappy Bird or Sheki Mixer, that kind of direction. So I didn't encounter, the brand safety in this matter.
Okay. Oh, thank you. How do you think? How do you see game evolve as a marketing channel in the future? A question for you.
I think the fun part of it is that what it excites me is that it is something that help you to educate something you want to educate and encourage people to take action. The second part is it connects online and offline quite easily, and I think you know, we marketing people, we always get asked the question from the CEOs on how to prove that your awareness is going to mean something. So we face the same challenge because for payment, by Momo as a payment platform, you know, when people are aware of us and people don't make transaction, then that awareness means nothing. It has to link to something. So it is, you know, the connecting online and offline and ability to make people use the campaign. For example, just a teaser, for example, with what if Luxy this year can draw people out on the street? For example, go to Circle K, buy a Sting, and get a chance to play some more, and then get a super present from Pepsi, for example.
Yes.
So that is a fun part of it.
Yes. So it means we call online to offline to online. This is the circle that we can make consumer play and fun and enjoy with the brand in
Yeah.
the platform.
At the backstage, Rohit asked a question, what is game or payment? Which one comes first? To me, it doesn't matter. Game first, payment and game. If you pay, you get the turn to play. If you play, you get the chance to win. So basically, online to offline, offline to online, payment and game, they're all in the mix.
I would just add a simple thing. Agree with you on this one. As long as soon as we pass the brand safety level, then we can talk about the transparency and scalability. So it's like how we can scale, how the maybe a regional brand, advertiser, or even global can access the inventory in like basically from one DSP or something. So that basically lead to the question how we can plug in the gaming environment to the programmatic world. So, and once we there, then it gives more options to the regional and global brands as well.
Okay, thank you very much for your share, and we are running out of time. I hope that you have heard good sharing from the panelists here today. And we know that now gaming is also a very good touch point for the marketer. Thank you very much. Thank you for your sharing.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I think you summarized it very well. Gaming or money, both one comes after the other, or no, none. So that's really insightful. And I think as we move into the next phase of evolution, it's going to be one of the key factors for marketing. So thank you so much for your time. Thank you. Thank you, man. Thank you. Bye-bye. Thank you, Eros. So this way, please. So we have our next presentation. It's yet another case study, the last case study for the day. This case study was also a very interesting case study about how a company was working towards helping some effort on social, making sure that they were able to drive the messaging, etc. Very interesting, bringing old memories back, etc. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce the two speakers talking about the Nescafe Tarot case study. Backstage, I was asking them about their names, and I thought the best way to give them an analogy is yin and yang, because they are Nyung and Nian. So please come to the stage. Thank you so much. Can we have a round of applause for them?
Thank you.
So this is an Audrey Hepburn fan, likes Breakfast at Tiffany's. Fast and Furious fan, likes to listen to music, and and trekking, and
I'm a fan of reading history books.
I'm not a particular fan of history, but I think the future is brighter. So I leave it to you guys. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. Thank you very much. Go first. Let's go.
Good afternoon, everyone. Hope that you all have a lot of fun and amazing takeaways already. So my name's Nhan or Mina, Senior Brand Development Manager of Nescafe, and this is my agency partner.
Thank you. Thank you, Mina. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Ngan from Publicis Group, and thank you for the opportunity. This is our pleasure and honor to be here with you, everyone, today, and share with you an amazing journey that we've been through together and get us here today. It is one most significant and well-recognized campaign done by the Nescafe, introducing Nescafe Tarot Cafe campaign.
Yeah.
And so how did we start?
Yeah. So where did we start it? Our coffee lovers that we wanted to connect were the young Vietnamese millennials and Gen Z. When talking to them, they are the very digital natives, or they are known for very tech savvy with the modern lifestyle. However, when come to sometimes when it comes to decision making, it's a bit spiritual sometimes. So when talking to the young people, the term manifest is not really strange to them at all. What does it mean? Through all of the positive attraction, the manifestation is bringing something tangible into people's lives via all of the thoughts, the actions, the beliefs, and sometimes the emotions. So based on that, to them, like they are turning to divinatory practices like numerology, the horoscopes, or sometimes the tarot to find the answers beyond the physical world. To them, the tarot, when into the practice, they use them as the navigation through many decisions in life. So how did we start the connection with them, Ching Ân?
Yes. So next slide, please. Okay, so actually, like as Mina just said, tarot is a big and trendy cultural phenomenon that is so being loved and well adopted by the Gen Z. But actually, that coming to the tarot, this is we did not reinvent the wheel. If we look back to the history of our humankind, we would see that fortune telling, astrology, or horoscope has always been the big cultural phenomenon that's well embedded in the human activities and also getting involving with the history of humankind. So this is also the human truth to say that there is always the need of exploring the unknown things about yourself, discover the hidden aspect in your personality traits, and our Gen Z, because they love to experience new things. Of course, that they would love to try the new tool that could help them to understand themselves better and get to know about the unknown things about themselves. So this is this is the first component of that. So going to the second component, that when we zoom into the context of the coffee, it's also true to say that your choice on the type of drink or your coffee preference could reveal to the world who you are, what you are like about. And as a Nescafe, I mean that we are a brand that we are offers a wide range of the product portfolios, and from the classic and traditional coffee to a modern and the trendy coffee mix. So that's why it allows us a right to say that with the Nescafe, we can represent for the diverse personality groups of the consumers. So, okay, so that is the second opinion. That is the second component. And what if now we borrow a very century-old but still very trendy cultural phenomenon, which is tarot, and map with the diverse coffee reference? What would we have? So that is the magic formula that we have. Introducing the Tarot Cafe. So this is the first ever branded tarot reading that can provide the consumer tools to get to know about their hidden traits, getting to know about the different aspects of their life choice, the possibilities of the guys that they are going to make in life. And I think that it's also interesting to note that because like we don't want to lose our presence, the brand essence as a coffee to the over spiritual things. So that's why what we did is we wittingly to switch the tarot terms in English to the tarot in Vietnamese. So at the end, the campaign line is tarot cafe, means that we pour a cup of coffee in Vietnamese. So that's how we can maintain the meaning of the tarot, the creative device that we borrow, but why stay very true as our brand essence, which is the coffee brand.
So with that tone that we have on the magic formula, so to make it feel like the real life tarot reading, we hosted the experience into the very interactive web app. And this is the matrix of how the magic bring into life. So with this one, the tarot reading is divided into 4 burning topics of the guidance to every Vietnamese young people: friendship, career, love, and family. And we have each of the topic consisted of the 16 cards, and all of the cards are customized based on the first one is our market's widest range of our Nescafe variants and recipes. Those are brewed decently with the 16 personality traits of the MBTI. And beyond that, all of the development is based on the principle of the tarot. You can see the wand, the sword, the cup, the pentacle, mixed carefully with all of the page, knight, queen, and queen. Those of everything were very beautifully crafted. And so this very astropop culture that guided Nescafe into a new strategy, rebuilding of the Nescafe fortunes by illuminating the young Vietnamese consumers' fortunes. So we would like to invite you to see a very recap magic that we offer the Vietnamese young coffee lovers.
Hi, welcome to Nescafe. The past. There were few stocks of Nescafe on the shelves due to COVID disruption. Young coffee lovers left to try other brands. The present. Now, all Nescafe products are back on the shelves, and we want to win back our youngsters. But it will take creative magic to get them to consider us again. Presenting Nescafe Tarot Cafe, which also means we pour coffee in Vietnamese. Using this cultural phenomenon on how young Vietnamese turn to tarot reading to guide their life's choices. Nescafe developed Vietnam's first branded tarot platform. This web-based mobile platform offers an interactive reading using 4 life aspects of friendship, career, love, and family. As they explore each life aspect, they unlock beautifully designed cards, characterized based on Nescafe recipes that match the personality of every prediction seeker in our platform. Up to 64 different cards with multiple possible readings kept our young drinkers engaged, with thousands coming back to discover more prophecies. Each generated result led them to our e-commerce page, inviting them to purchase the coffee that matches their reading. As the platform read tarot for them, the system collected data of diverse coffee profiles with thousands and thousands of coffee preference data points, which helps Nescafe in accurately creating customized cross-sell ads targeting them. Collaboration with hot TikTokers and interest-based ads drove massive online traffic and sales conversion to the platform. While the well-loved tarot card designs created a demand for real-life tarot-themed merchandise given through lucky draws. The Super Brand Day drew thousands of people to the Coffee Tarot booth. Future. By illuminating the youngster's fortune, Nescafe has rebuilt its own fortune, even better than the pre-COVID period of 2021. Plus 212% of whooping sale growth on e-commerce, plus 20 basis points of total market share, plus 19 index points in innovative brand, plus 25 index points in Fit My Lifestyles, plus 27 index points in Always Deliver Great Tasting Coffee. 68,000 unique data collected, 3 times more than planned, with amazing extra 272,000 data points enriched with coffee drinking habits. 272,000 cards drawn on our web app. More than 238,000 social engagements, double the KPI.
To wrap up, we have designed a very digital and mobile first universe of the coffee, or you can say this is the coffeeverse that we own of the tarot reading is based on the very developing on the central of everything of our campaigns and all of the activities and our budget, more than 90% of our marketing advertising budget together with all the creatives were optimized for the mobile friendly channels. And there are 64 cards that offer them to always come back for more. You can tell that when you get into the coffeeverse, you'll never be back. And final.
Yes, and finally, so through the Tarot campaign, there are the 2 ultimate goals that we want to achieve. First thing first, of course, that we want to gain a deeper and meaningful connections with our consumer. Now we understand where they live on mobile, on social, on digital, how we engage with them deeply and meaningfully, and more important, that how we can offer them a best personalization experience that we could. And a second point, actually, that to us, this is the most important. I think that more important than any business result or the campaign performance result. Because as a brand with a purpose that making your everyday better with a red cup of coffee, we do believe that through the tarot, what we did is to provide a tool to the consumer to get to know themselves better, to reconnect to themselves, and to also have the chance to look deeper into themselves. And of course, that we hope that they could enjoy their coffee moment at its best.
Yeah. And to wrap up, as our brand believes that every Vietnamese deserves a red cup of coffee, we already manifest the youngsters to come back to Nescafe even stronger and better engagement with Nescafe. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for listening. We hope that you enjoy that.
Interactive and engaging presentation. Thank you. Good job. Thank you. Thank you. So we are almost on the last leg of the day. This is a presentation about the research that we did at MMA with Walk. This is done across 500 marketeers across the region. We have a guest from Singapore, Ed Pang. He's a partner of MMA, also heads the business for Walk in Singapore. And he's going to talk about the importance of the innovation, the creativity, the technology, etc. And there's a lot of opportunity there. But also it comes with certain challenges around measurement, around brand safety. And those are real challenges. Marketeers are looking at that actively, how to solve that. So if I can ask Ed to come on the stage while he's making his way here. Hey, Ed.
Hello. Hi, Rohit.
I was asking Ed which is the latest book he's read. He gave me a name which I got worried about. This is Going to Hurt. That's a book. It's by a doctor in UK. First, I thought he was talking about his presentation, that it's going to hurt, but no, it's not going to hurt. I think you're going to learn about his presentation. His inspiration are his kids, like many of us. Kids keep you young. I'm sure they are keeping you young too.
They certainly are.
Yeah. And there was one more thing that I had asked you about, right?
Yoga or?
Yoga. He's a yoga enthusiast. So
I do yoga very, very badly. I try to do yoga, but not very successfully.
Okay. So, but you do successfully do surveys, research, and understand the market. Why don't you share that with us?
We do.
Thank you.
Great, thank you very much, everybody. Great to be presenting with you today. This is actually my first conference and first business trip in the region for 3 years. And it's fantastic to be back in real life. Forget the metaverse. It's great to be back in the physical world presenting to you. And today we have fantastic insights and highlights from the survey that we've done with the MMA, and I'm going to be sharing with you today. What I do need is a clicker. Does anyone have a clicker? That might be a good idea. Oh, fantastic. Thank you so much. So before we get started, just a little bit of context for who we are and the presentation. So WARC is the global authority in marketing effectiveness. Basically, at WARC.com, we have this platform of insights and best practice, which our clients can access to be able to help devise more effective marketing strategies. And on top of that, we have an advisory service where we answer specific challenges for our clients with bespoke solutions. That could be training, it could be white papers, and so on. Very proud to say that we work with some of the world's best brands. And in Vietnam, I'm very proud to say that we have Suntory, PepsiCo, and Prudential as clients, amongst many other agencies as well. So getting into the report, modern marketing in Vietnam, what is the state of the industry in 2022? And what I want to do with you today is to share with you some data points which will hopefully give you validation and evidence as to what's the right strategy for your brands. So in terms of the sample, we had 244 respondents of 723 across APAC. The survey timing took place from July to September. And that's kind of important to note with the kind of looming recessionary impact that might affect various responses. Obviously, the location is Vietnam, and then respondent profiles, a third were brands, marketers themselves, and then agencies, and a mixture of seniority, the majority coming from managers and execs, but also some senior profiles in there as well. Okay, so getting into the growth of digital marketing. Well, the good news, and this really chimes with everything that we've been hearing today and all the energy and vibrancy that there is in this market, that digital budgets are expected to increase. 73% of respondents expect them to increase in the next year, and only 6% expect them to decline. According to We Are Social and Kepios, the digital advertising market is worth $812 million, and that is expected to increase by 23% year on year. When it comes to MarTech, you can also see that actually Vietnam is over-indexing as well. So 40% of respondents expect to spend up to 25% of their marketing budget in MarTech. But when it comes to the barriers of growth, and this is the tension, right? I've been blown away by all the innovation and the excitement and dynamism of the Vietnam market. When we've asked respondents in the survey, what are the barriers to growth? Metrics and measurement is number one, the key barrier. And then secondly, it's skills. So for me, that tells me there's lots of optimism about where the industry is going and all of the opportunities, but marketers are concerned about coming up with an effective measurement framework. And we've heard repeatedly today the importance of measurement. We heard about the Chief Digital Officer and how business performance is key to that particular role. So as an industry, we have to get better at measuring the impact of our brands. And I was fortunate enough to be judging the Smarties APAC last week, and it was those case studies that really had very clear business results were the ones that kind of stood out from the crowd. Okay, and then in terms of key consumer behaviors, So video consumption, no surprises here, but video consumption and multi-screening are increasing in significance to marketing. Interesting that m-commerce or mobile commerce has gone down by 23 percentage points since last year. And maybe that's because mobile commerce and e-commerce is kind of less in focus than it was during the pandemic and during particular lockdowns. And when it comes to the portion of digital marketing budgets and which channel that goes to, you can see that video is coming out at number 2. And this chimes with a survey from YouGov where 47% of Vietnamese respondents said that they have increased their video streaming in the last 12 months. But social is top when it comes to channel allocation for digital budgets, and that's no surprising really, because Vietnam is such a social media centric market. So 77 million social media users in Vietnam, which forms 78% of the population, and this compares to an equivalent of 59% of the global population for global social media users. So you can see again how Vietnam over-indexes when it comes to social media usage compared to a global benchmark. And most marketers remain really excited about shoppable media. So in 2021, it was 90% marketers were really excited about shoppable media. That's gone down a little bit, 10 percentage points year on year, so it's about 80%, which again is interesting, and I'm thinking that that's because shoppable media and online sales is kind of less in the spotlight than it potentially was. But still, it's a very exciting opportunity. And 49% of respondents said they have used shoppable ads on social media in the last year. And the top platforms, Facebook 25%, TikTok 21%, Instagram 21%, and Zalo 21% as well in terms of shoppable media ads and the usage. Now, I didn't want to just present data, because data is really interesting and it's great for validating our strategies, but I also wanted to bring it to life with some case studies. So there's a couple of case studies in my presentation just to bring to life the trends a little bit. And the first one is for energy drink Sting. And what I like about this campaign is that they had a really cool shopper entertainment type of campaign that integrated the brand really nicely into the gaming experience with Arena of Valor. And then it was also seamlessly integrated into the sales channel through Tiki, where you could get limited edition cans with and have them delivered within 2 hours. Let's have a look.
For packaged beverages, e-commerce traditionally has not been an enticing route to market. Low value density and high shipping cost, driven by small ticket size, has always been a roadblock. On top of that, shopping it online does not motivate buyers, particularly when one can simply walk up to the nearest convenience store and pick up their drink of choice. Energy drink brand Sting was facing the same challenge in Vietnam. All this while, shopping was evolving. The lines between what is shopping and what is entertainment continue to blur in the digital world. Gaming, virtual experiences, or events with influencers are now common to the shopping experience and are appealing to younger shoppers, Gen Zs, the digital natives. This prompted Sting to launch Gamers, a unique shoppertainment experience in esports. Sting partnered with Tiki, one of the biggest local e-commerce platforms in Vietnam, with a unique proposition of 2-hour delivery. Based on shopper behavior on Tiki, potential audience segments were classified and mapped on the gaming platform Arena of Valor. During the much-anticipated Winter Arena of Glory Championship 2021, Gamers users got an opportunity to entertain by participating in treasure hunts, receiving redemption codes, earning points, And shop by getting limited edition Sting bottles featuring sensational heroes of Arena of Valor on Tiki just within 2 hours. Also, to engage with the gaming community, a bottle cap promotion started. One could redeem the code found under the cap of the limited edition Sting bottles to win exclusive in-game collectibles. Those would help them boost the energy of their virtual characters during their mission. With the pioneer of gamers, Sting reached more than 61 million of its consumers. 15 million Sting limited edition bottles got sold out in just 4 weeks. More than 480,000 promotion codes redeemed. Return on ad spend of our e-com activity was at 200% higher than market benchmark. Return on investment of media value was at 1,095%. Gamers also had a positive impact on Sting's brand and business performance, plus 2.5 point volume sales, displaced competition from the #1 position. And Sting got a new cheat code to win the Gen Zs while strengthening its business.
So a really nice campaign, leveraging the e-commerce channel, and also very cleverly integrated into the Arena of Valor. I think so often you hear about gaming strategies, which can be a force fit and actually a bit awkward when it comes to gaming, but this is kind of really nicely integrated the brand and helping to drive commercial performance. Okay, so just the last section of today's presentation, looking at emerging technologies. And as we've heard today, time and time again, there's massive excitement around Web3 in Vietnam and massive excitement around the metaverse. And this market seems to be very bullish on new technologies, which is fantastic. We've heard about GameFi. We've heard about all of the fantastic opportunities that are coming out of this market. And I think Vietnam's got this real opportunity to shine brightly in the regional stage and on the global stage to bring these technologies to life, but also, and I think this is a critical point of the presentation, to make sure there are successful measurement frameworks so that you can prove the success of using these new technologies. And when it comes to the technologies that are going to be the most significant in the next 2 years, well, no surprises, and we've heard it quite a few times in today's conference. But mobile wallet is coming out, 10 percentage points increase year on year. Then it's AR, VR. And when it comes to mobile wallets, this is data from Boku, but there are 17 million users, I've heard of, mobile wallet users in Vietnam currently. And this is projected to increase to 57 million in 2025, when the transactional value of mobile wallets is forecast to be 48 billion. I mean, that is a staggering figure. So mobile wallets, as we've heard many times, is a very exciting technology, particularly for this market. Blockchain also increasing by 16%, and we all know what a crypto market Vietnam is, with higher crypto usage than any other market in the world. And DeFi also has strong adoption, I should say, in this market, and second to the United States. So lots of new technologies coming out in Vietnam, and many consumers embracing them. And this, along with all these technologies, including VR and AR, and as this one is called XR, which is a mashup of mixed reality as well, this presented Lux Botanicals with an opportunity to relaunch their products. And they did it with a very unique experience of putting on a virtual conference using Big Fung, who is the star of the show. So let's have a look at the case study video.
Hello, the old Lux can't come to the phone right now because we've transformed. After 4 years without any new products and consumer interactions, there was an urge for Lux to come back and make our brand image more relevant to urban women, those who like to transform themselves to the ever-changing beat of life. And because you transformed, we transformed. From now on, Lux has transformed into Lux Botanicals, with an updated product portfolio using natural fragrances from botanical ingredients to help women stay confident all day long. To announce this change, we'd love to invite you to our gardens to immerse yourselves in the essence of Lux Botanicals. Because of COVID-19, with lockdowns and all other limitations, we decided to use technology to tell our transformation story. Since consumers couldn't come to our botanical gardens, we brought the gardens to them. Lux Botanicals Garden, the first extended reality music concert in Vietnam. XR is the mix of 3 technologies, VR, AR, MR, mixed reality, and also future immersive technologies that enable an extension of reality while blending virtual graphics with real-world elements. XR Virtual World has no limits in visual performance that can impress any audience. This technology allowed Lux Botanicals to create one of the most compelling and engaging music concerts in Vietnam. The concert began with our brand ambassador, Bích Phương, an artist who transformed herself from a sweet, soft girl who only sang ballad love songs to a more dynamic and sexy performer with different genres from dance to EDM. We utilized 3 of her hits with a twist in lyrics to deliver our message: change for the better, ngã hương thiên nhiên, thu thiên, biến hóa. Each song represented a flower in our garden, presented by Bích Phương, with Lux Botanicals as an enabler for this music concert. From the gentle freesia to the charming and seductive rose, and finally to the mysterious, attractive orchid, in every garden we saw Bích Phương transform herself with our products to showcase Lux Botanicals' confidence effect. Finally, we brought consumers into the final garden with 3 new Lux Botanicals products revealed together to create a climax for our viewers. With impressive visuals and encouraging messages, the concert received positive results that highlighted both our new identity and reinforced brand presence in the market. Total buzz was 92.65%, with over 70,000 live stream engagements and 400,000 views. Lux's fan page was busier than ever, with more than 5.79% of the audience showing brand love. Brand penetration reached 10 basis points total urban. Rapid growth in sales and market share. The concert also led the BSI chart for outstanding engagement and awareness during the launch month, March 2022. What are you waiting for? Let's transform with Lux Botanicals.
I think that's a pretty impressive way to relaunch a product. Very engaging and embracing all of these new technologies that we've been talking about. And they linked it critically back to commercial performance. And that's why it's such a compelling story and narrative through the case study. Okay, so the key takeaways I want to leave with you today is the digital economy is going gangbusters in Vietnam, but it's really important to address the digital skills gap or risk missing out on these future growth opportunities. Secondly, we've seen time and time again, we've heard it throughout the day, that more Vietnamese consumers are consuming video and multi-screening. So explore new data and metrics. So there's a lot of talk globally about attention measurement and actually looking at attention data as opposed to just viewability. Viewability is a bit superficial, whereas attention data actually measures the number of captive seconds that your audience has with a particular film, and then they can correlate that very closely to sales outcomes. So we've talked about today about attention and attention deficits, but actually attention measurement is a key way to be able to measure your campaigns and link it back to commercial performance. And then emerging channels and technologies, they open up lots of exciting ways to reach and convert new audiences. But I think my advice is evaluate each opportunity really, really critically and make sure that if you're embarking in this new channel, this new opportunity, it ladders up to your overall strategic direction. Because at the end of the day, you have a strategy and you need to make sure these new channels feed that strategy and actually help you achieve your marketing objectives. So anyway, thank you very much for listening, and thank you for your attention today. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Ed. Really appreciate you making the time. And this report is available on MMA Global and on the Walk site, so you can download that.
Great. Thank you, Rohit.
Thank you. Bye-bye. So we are now on the last leg, and saving the best for the last. How many people in this room actually know Gen Alpha?
Là vẫn là cái nút màu xanh thôi đúng không?
Gen Alpha. Your new consumers. Children between the age of 8 to 12. They are the future. They are your new consumers. So we are going to learn a little bit about the study that Group M has done. This is a study being presented by Group M, Ms. Hyun and Ms. Tran from FCV, talking about what that new consumer is going to be, what it looks like. They've done this study. They are happy to share some of that here. It is actually a paid study. So we will not be able to share the entire study, but the slides that are being presented, you will have them. But this is very important. So some of the learnings here that you will get of the new consumer. Can you imagine your new consumer is between the age of 8 to 12? So to talk more about that, we have a singer, and there's the singer, there's the painter, that's their passion, and they're going to talk about Generation Alpha.
Twins from Generation Alpha.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, first of all, thank you for joining with us on the last section on this afternoon. Before starting on our presentation, I would like to introduce a little bit about ourselves. First, my name is Phụng Huỳnh, and I come from Friesland, Campina, Vietnam, along with my partner on today, Ms. Trang Trừng from Group M Knowledge. And for today, it's our order for us to share with you on the topic is called What Next After Gen Z. Yeah, hope that you can enjoy it. Okay, thank you, Trang. Think about Gen Z. So it may recall us with a keyword like young, dynamic, trendy, tech-savvy, or hyper-connectivity. Gen Z, they are the first true media native generations with sixth sense for brand insincerity and passion for action over word. So by this way, Gen Z have generated big impacts and strong influence to our society for today. And they are definitely represent for the young representation at present time. However, Gen Z will evolve and grow to be older. So, have you ever thought about what's in the next generation? Who will be the upcoming young generations after Gen Z? Or who would be represent for the future of the consumer? All of the questions here would be unlocked right now by our orientation. Sorry. Okay. Currently, the emergence of the young consumer have created new opportunity for the new segmentations and taken on by the marketing industries. There's new inventions. It's called trends. So who they are? Is it a segmentation that coming from the Generation Alpha? And the questions here is, who are they? Who are twins? Specifically, twins are commonly considered as the children between kids and teens. They are lasting from the age of 8 to 12 years old. They are no longer the little children, but not yet the teens. In the marketing industry, they are more popular for you to see the media or the marketing strategy focus on winning Gen Z for teens and young adults, or driving kids by the power for Generation Alpha. How about twins? Actually, twins is also considered as a potential segment for development as well. Next. Maybe some kind of you will concern that how twins compare to other generations, right? Actually, twins of today have more opportunity to expose what the world of media, technology, consumerism. So that's why they are considered as the more generation. It means more personal power, more money pockets, more influence on making the purchase decision. So, next, there's some kind of the statement like, trends of today, consumer of tomorrow. What does it mean? Actually, it means that twins are not only the more generations, but also twins, they are definitely the faster generation with the role of penetration faster in the next coming year and in the present. According to this year, total penetration of twins is 8 million users at the current time, and this number is ready to be grown at a bigger scale in the upcoming time. So, they are considered as the potential of the future consumer in the next coming year, in the nearby future. Understand the potential, So, twins is very popular and potential in the near future. So it's time for us to prepare for the next generation and also our future consumer to have the better understanding on the behaviors of twins in Vietnam markets. President Compina Vietnam and Group M Knowledge have cooperated to conduct the first ever syndicated media study to study on the house twin behaviors. And on today's sections, there would be some kind of the sharing from us to answer the questions, how can we approach them? How they consume media, or what of the device they endorse the most? And in overall, there will be the three key pillars that we want to cover for this section of the study. Firstly, smart TV and smartphones are the two essential devices for twins. Second, social is an unstoppable entertainment for twins at today. And the last one, gaming is considered as a part and a parcel of twin life, not only to win kids better power, but also to striving for the twin better power in the future. And for more detail, I would like to invite Ms. Chang Chung from Group M Knowledge to share with you more on the specifically information and insight from this study. Yes. Chang, please.
Thank you, Ms. Thank you, Ms. Phụng, for sharing us, for helping us understand about twins overview. And now I will walk you through some data from twins. And as Ms. Phụng has shared, this data is from the syndicated research of Group M and FCV cooperate. And the data is conducted in July this year, 2022. So the data is very new and there's a lot of insightful data from this research. And we would like to share today is 3 pillars point that you can see. And let's go to the first point. So the first point is smart TV is the most favorite device used by twins. As you can see here on the slide, 92% of twins use smart TV, making it the most favorite devices among twins. And second is smartphone with 87%. Tablet is only account for 22%. And please be note that this study is conducted in 5 key urban cities of Vietnam. So the data is only represented for urban. So what tweens do on smart TV? Most of them, they watch YouTube on smart TV. It's obvious, of course. So as you can see that smart TV is a household item that tweens can easily access to, but mobile phone is a personal item. So how many of tweens own mobile phone? 30% of them have their own mobile phone, and 70% of them use parents' mobile phone. So here are the top activities that tweens do on their mobile phone. So at the first rank is watch online film and videos. The second, they play online games, and the third is visit social network. So you can see that the top three are all skewed to entertainment, that tweens stay entertained on digital. We also saw that e-learning still on the top, but the percentage is only nearly 40%. So we move to the second point, that social is unstoppable entertainment platform for tweens. So on mobile, 98% of tweens watch video on YouTube, and 56 of them use TikTok, and 53% of them find their way to Facebook. So you can see that here, TikTok has surpassed Facebook among tweens users, and it's also predicted to continue to grow in the future. And the last point we want to share with you is gaming is part and parcel of tweens' life. Why we say that? Because of nearly 80% of tweens playing games, and most of them play it daily. We can name some of their favorite games such as Minecraft, Mario, and Puzzle. So you can see that tweens embrace the digital life. They stay entertained, and they are the future consumer that we, the marketers, should endorse from now on. So that is the end of our presentation.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for your listening.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay.
As I said, this is finishing the day telling you about what the future is. So I know it's been a long day. We are now going to get ready for Smarties. I hope to see you at Smarties. But before I let you guys go, would like to thank all our speakers, the delegates, our partners, Google, Grab, Digital Turbine, Meta, and Micro Cococ, MGID, and Momo for their support. We will start the registration for Smarties at 6 o'clock outside, and we'll try and start the show at 7 p.m. So I hope to see you in about an hour's time. Thank you so much for your time, and we'll see you in about an hour's time. Thank you.